Is it horrible? Tell me what you think, Yorkie. You think it's terrible? Is it horrible?
Hello. Hello. It is that Hildy time, that Hildy channel. Okay, camera. We don't have to get along. It's fine. But I'm a little tired. I've been fighting a cold, and I haven't gotten it yet, but keep getting real close. And backing off that ledge, you know, not climbing it up that hill, climbing up that building. News, current events, that sort of mumbly jumbly. I don't care if my connection isn't private. Jesus Christ. Got some current event. Mumbo jumper. In Texas, a bunch of election deniers were nominated for the Republican GOP thing. They won the primaries, of course, right? Russia is currently searching for a convicted serial rapist and serial killer who signed up to fight in Ukraine then disappeared. They didn't tell everybody for months, of course. U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum has accused Pope Leo of editorializing. Trump wants all federal workers to sign non-disclosure agreements for media leaks, which is fine, except he can't do that, unfortunately. There are still laws that say you can't give NDAs to federal workers. But, you know, we could say can't do every single time, every single day, and we won't really get there. BTS reunited in March. Yeah, this is K-pop. BTS reunited in March for their first concert in nearly 4 years, and now they're making BTS Oreos. Who's getting a new album? BTS. Just letting you know. So while the U.S. Army was watching, defense industry operators turned a logistics drone into a flying rocket launcher. Exactly what everyone feared would happen when we started using drones for war has happened. Some fucking defense industry hobbyist attached a rocket launcher to the bottom of the drone and said murder. Trump still thinks he's winning the war in Iran. He keeps saying he's going to end it, but he just needs more. He hasn't won, and he's not going to win. Kazakhstan is trying to, what do we call it? Afforestation? They are afforestating, the RLC bed. So, a lot of Americans don't understand this, but once the world's 4th largest lake, the RLC is one of the largest ecological challenges in Central Asia. The seabed completely dried up. And not having that water is fucking up Asia real hard. So it once covered about 68 kilometers. It collapsed after essentially it was drained by Soviet-era irrigation projects. There's not going to be a restoration of the water levels. Most ecologists have decided that is not realistic. However, Saxol, which is this really lovely little hyaluronic sea bed plant is being planted all along the Dead Sea to help refertilize, in a sense, the earth. Kazakhstan itself is one of the top countries of desertification in the entire the world. More than 30 years of specialization. So Saxol and halophyte seeds. Remember I mentioned halophyte the other day? Halophyte being things that are salt-loving. What happens is they remove excess salt from the environment because they fucking dig them and they can survive in it. So they provide photosynthesis, nutrients to the ground. And one of the most important things that happens with plants like Saxol and halophytic plants is that their roots hold water. So especially if you're talking about really sandy soil that can flood very easily, if you have a bunch of plants that are holding water, all of a sudden you're getting floods. And perhaps you might fill that lake. It's very exciting. They are at a point where 1.2 million hectares is the majority of the Dead Sea. Border Patrol is reading license plates in Southern California. Please be careful. Washington's cap on rent has received no fines, has created no fines on landlords whatsoever, despite many landlords violating the law. And let's see, is there anything else? The Onion. Pete Hegseth's shaking with rage after imagining plus-sized astronaut. I feel like that's a good way to end this. So, as for momentary schedule talk, no, I don't have black eyes. My mascara ran and I didn't wash my face yet. My birthday's tomorrow. I will be turning 41 years old. We'll be playing collaborative games online, which people can join in with cell phones and other shenanigans. But I'll also be playing just whatever the fuck I want. So if I get sick of playing those, I'm gonna move the fuck on. Shibuya Scramble. Last time at Shibuya Scramble, we figured out that Tama is Maria. Woo! Shit's getting real. Real. Tanaka, he's a fucking fraudster. And as far as we understand, Hinako? Why can I never remember her name? She received the antiviral cure. Also, a fucking assassin from the Middle East named Kanan has appeared that apparently Maria made friends with randomly in the Middle East. Shit's going off the rails. Yet somehow still buy it. We are in the 2 o'clock hour. Yeah. Hitomi! Oh my god. Hitomi. Yeah. So we I thought this chapter would be short, but again, Achi and Hitomi just have the longest, most awkward, most I swear to God we're in love with each other, but we're not chapters in the universe. So we got stuck behind one of those things. All right. Let's go. So we reached a keep out on Kano, I believe? Yes. Okay, they're like, hey, look, guess what you can't do? Anything but Minorikawa? Fine. No! Minorikawa's cry of despair echoed throughout the cafe. His laptop monitor stared back at him, black and empty. Don't you die on me, buddy! He jabbed his finger sharply at the screen. But the computer gave no response, looking well and truly dead. What the hell? Minorikawa pounded his fist on the table. This would be a worst-case scenario, even if he weren't desperately pressed for time. Guess I'll have to just write by hand then. He rummaged around inside his bag and pulled out a notebook. 2008, when people would actually have analog around, and I did not make the game visible!
Tell me what you think, Yorkie. You think it's terrible? Is it horrible?
I did lose a window I needed open. There it is. I can still do this, he shouted, doing his best to psych himself up for the task ahead. I will still do this. Excuse me, sir? The waitress appeared timidly beside him. What? Minorikawa snapped, his pen still flying across the paper. Sir, if you could please quiet down. My damn computer just broke. I'm allowed to scream or two. Minorikawa was in no state of mind to be quiet. If it weren't for the deadline he was racing to meet, he'd probably have gone on screaming until he passed out. Your computer is broken, you say? The waitress peered at the monitor. Yeah, look! It just suddenly stopped displaying anything. Could it be that, the battery is just dead? Ah, see? I told you, Minorikawa! Minorikawa sat bolt upright. That's it! The waitress flinched as Minorikawa's finger jabbed toward her face. I hadn't considered that possibility. Hey, let me plug in somewhere. There's an outlet right there, sir. She pointed an outlet by Minorikawa's feet, making no attempt to hide her exasperation. Minorikawa plugged in the power cable, and the monitor sprang to life as normal. So, now that it's sorted, would you please be quiet, sir? And we're not even seeing the game. I am a mess. Try this one more time. You gonna do it? Excellent, but we gotta change this, because this is set for some Disco Elysium nonsense. Okay. Don't talk to me. You're interfering with my writing. Minorikawa's fingers had already begun dancing across his keyboard. With a sigh, the waitress disappeared back into the kitchen. Oh yeah, now we're talking. His fingers picked up speed as he went about touch typing. Touch typing! Defined! The act of typing at a keyboard without looking at the keys. The aspiration of computer novices everywhere. The typical method involves placing the index fingers on the F and J keys, with the middle ring and pinky fingers resting on the A, S, and D, or K, L, and semicolon keys to either side, from which all of the keys are easily reached. With practice, a touch typist can instinctively hit the correct key every time without looking. Like me! The pros and cons of surveillance cameras. Proprietor of outdated electronics shop oversees high-tech camera system. Bed limit, bogus weight loss drink sales demo. Bankrupted organizer remains undiscouraged. Now Minorikawa's spirits were riding high. His writing rolled along at a brisk pace. Sir? It was the waitress again, her voice yanking Minorikawa right out of the soaring mood. Sir! Now what? Has the President of the United States agreed to give me a one-on-one interview? The waitress's eyes went wide with confusion. Huh? Because unless it's something that important, do not speak to me right now. But she was undeterred. Sir, please, if you could just be a little quieter. Minorikawa's fingers ceased their rattling across the keys. This what sound do you have a problem with? All I've been doing is writing the copy. Well, last while actually you've been talking while you write, sir. Talking? Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Yes, sir, you've been talking about an electronics store and some bogus weight loss drink. I assume that's what you're writing about? Oh, you say I've been narrating my copy aloud while writing it? That's right, sir. Other customers sitting nearby were openly snickering. Well, so what? He snapped. He was red in the face now. You should all be delighted that you get to hear what I'm writing before the magazine goes to print. Well, actually, sir, one of our customers has been complaining. Complaining? Of all the nerve, who was it? Where are they? Minorikawa scanned the patrons, many of whom were unsuccessfully trying to hide their laughter. It was me. Oh, yeah, of course it was. It was the grumpy older fellow who'd been making a scene earlier. Bogus diet fads, pubic security cameras, remind me of that sleazy tabloid four-star general gossip I hate so much. Oh-ho, you sure seem to know a lot about it for something you hate so much. The man's face twisted up with scorn. Your behavior is bothering everyone in here, he said. Do you not understand that? No, I don't. As a reporter who writes nothing but nonsense prefers nonsense in everything he does. Minarikawa could feel his blood boiling. What was that? Go on. Say that again. Oh, gladly. Nonsense. Filth. Codswallop. Flim flam. You bastard. How dare you? Minarikawa stormed over to the man's table. Flim flam indeed. Flim flam. Defined. Bogus or insincere content. Few things anger Minarikawa more than reporters using dishonest means to create a story. Having his own work called Flim Flam would naturally make him blow his top. Just who are you calling Flim Flam? The other man stood up and glowered in Minarikawa's face. You utterly lack any manners or sense of decency, for starters. I have plenty of manners and decency. I also happen to have a deadline. Bah! As if a Flim Flam artist like you has a work ethic. Stop calling me Flim Flam. The waitress inserted herself between the two men. Gentlemen, please, stop fighting. I demand that you remove this man at once, the older fellow barked. He's the one you should be kicking out, Minarikawa shot back. By now he's ready to go for this guy's throat. Please, the waitress pleaded, both of you, return to your seats. She grabbed onto Minarikawa and began to forcibly drag him back to his table. Oh, it's too late for that. Giving into his anger, Minarikawa threw a punch at... Oh, no. We're not gonna punch, what's-his-face's father-in-law. That feels like a bad idea. A really, really bad idea. No, because see, if he swallows his pride, he's just gonna hit him even harder. Oh, it's too late for that. Giving into his anger, Minarikawa threw a punch at the troublemaker. The man dodged nimbly, however. You're not bad. I'm 6th dan in judo. Ah, you should have mentioned that earlier. Minarikawa hastily retreated to his seat. The other man snorted and sat down with a scowl. The needless interruption, just when he'd finally gotten into writing mode, had all but killed Minarikawa's motivation. He decided he needed to take a breather. He turned to the waitress. 1 spaghetti Napolitan, please. Spaghetti Napolitan. Spaghetti flavored with tomato ketchup. Napolitan is a corruption of Neapolitan, though the dish itself has no connection to the Italian city of Naples, Napoli. Rather, it originated as a menu item at a hotel in Yokohama shortly after World War II. There's also a spaghetti dish from Nagoya called Milanese, which likewise has no connection to the Italian city of Milan. He might not have a lot of spare time, but working on an empty stomach wouldn't do him any favors. While waiting for his order to come out, he decided to read back over the copy he'd written so far. What? When he looked back at the monitor, the screen was black yet again. Looking down at his feet, he saw that the power cable was now unplugged. Hey, what kind of cafe are you people running here? He shouted. The waitress heard over, looking combative. Sir, you yanked that out yourself when you stood up earlier. What? A likely story. It's the truth, sir. Minarikawa pointed at one of the customers sitting next to him. Is she telling the truth? Did I really yank my power cord out myself? The man nodded sheepishly. Yeah, well, and that's the outlet's fault for being someplace where to unplug so easily, Minarikawa squawked. Oh my god, this motherfucker. The waitress marched away, head held high. Just make sure that spaghetti's delicious, Minarikawa shouted after her. Do that, and I'll consider us even. Oh, and load it with cheese. Lots of cheese. You're gonna explode, Minarikawa. He plugged the power cable back in, then let out a heavy sigh. In all his running fervor, he hadn't thought to save his work. Please save your work. Everyone, save your work. Right now, whatever you're doing. Save your work. Fine. Always make sure to save your work to avoid losing data. Honestly, why is it that your computer only seems to freeze when you've forgotten to save your stuff? Exactly, game. Exactly. He was probably going to have to rewrite most of what he'd done. Excuse me. Minorikawa looked up to see a young woman standing there. I'm so sorry, she said, about my father. She gave a tiny bow. Your father? Oh, the rude old man? He's just a little worked up right now. Please don't pay him anymore. All the caffeine. Have coffee. Have soda. So what? Waiting on your boyfriend? Huh? Excuse me. The woman was taken aback. I happened to hear you two arguing earlier. Would have been about 2 hours ago. Oh, I see. An awkward, embarrassed smile came to the woman's face. I thought he was going to ask my father for permission to marry me, so we've been waiting for him, but he hasn't shown up? No. He must be really busy. She cast her eyes down sadly. Minorikawa took a better look at her. She was gorgeous. The woman with her looks wasn't something he saw every day, that was for sure. Say, would you mind talking with me for a bit? He asked. Me? Yeah. Kind of need to turn my mood around here. Well, okay. At least until my father gets back. The woman cast his ancient look towards the restrooms. What's your name? Rumi. He sat down across from him. Wait a second, aren't you Minorikawa one of those twins that was chosen as Miss Midoriyama? Rumi shook her head. No, not me. No? Darn, didn't think I'd be that lucky. He took a sip of his now cold coffee. I do know the girls you're talking about, though, Rumi said. Minorikawa spat out his coffee in surprise. Rumi squeaked in alarm as the spray splattered her face, but Minorikawa leaned in, unconcerned. You mean it? You really know them? Thank you. Thank you. I love that we never see Rumi's face. Yes, Rumi replied. You're talking about the Osawa twins, right? She got out a handkerchief and wiped the coffee from her face as she spoke. Osawa, huh? Minorikawa glanced down at the project proposal on the table. Sexy Square, twin share, top prize at local university beauty contest. Riyama Academy, Maria and Hitomi Osawa. Yes, that's it. The Osawa twins. I actually won Miss Midoriyama myself a few years ago. This year I served as one of the judges. Huh. Minorikawa adopted a self-satisfied pose. Guess I really was born under the right sign to be a freelancer. The leads just come to me. Sure, Rumi muttered. Okay, let's talk basics then. Tell me what you know about these girls. Well, I don't really know them personally. Rumi continued to dab at the coffee on her face, but now that you ask, I do remember hearing that they'd entered the contest separately. Wait, separately? Now Minorikawa was a bit confused. Yes, that's right. I'd assumed they'd entered as a pair, but apparently not. I wonder why. I mean, they're twins. Don't they look alike? Wear the same clothes? Do everything together? Say the same things at the same time and stuff? Rumi chuckled and shook her head. No, not at all. Besides, these two aren't identical. They're fraternal twins, she said. Yet. Fraternal twins. Defined. Twins who were born at the same time from 2 eggs that were fertilized separately. Fraternal twins do not share the same genetic information. They can differ in such characteristics as sex and blood type, though there are cases of fraternal twins resembling one another almost as closely as identical twins. Maria and Hitomi Osawa happen to look very closely alike, but they do not have the same blood type. Although at a glance they do look very similar, still, how should I put this? They both give off a very different impression. Oh? Now that sounds interesting. Might explain what you mean. Minorikawa opened his memo pad. I talked to them briefly after the award ceremony. The older sister struck me as really energetic, but the younger one was more quiet, reserved. Minorikawa's investigative senses were tingling. Wouldn't figure a shy girl would want to enter a campus beauty contest. I suppose not, no. Yeah. I don't suppose you've got anything juicier, Minorikawa asked. Rumi frowned. Would you like to just go ask them yourself? She said. They don't live very far from here. Whoa! Hold the phone! Minorikawa could hardly believe what had just fallen in his lap. The advance info in the project proposal had mentioned the girls were students at Midoriyama, but hadn't given an actual address. He could talk to them directly now. That would be pay dirt. You know where they live? Well, not exactly. I just heard that they lived in Shoto. Shoto. That wasn't far away. A car or motorcycle could get there in about 10 minutes. It'd be quicker than going to Midoriyama Academy. He'd be able to meet with the girls themselves. Minorikawa flashed a quick look toward the restroom. Looked like Rumi's father had just gotten back. Sorry, she said. I should be going. No problem. Thank you. Rumi gave him a quick nod, then hurried back to her seat. Minorikawa grabbed the directory from the public phone and flipped through the pages. To his surprise, there were only 5 listings for the name of Suwa with addresses in Shoto. It was neither Maria nor Hitomi, but he hadn't expected it to be. He'd need to find their parents. Wasting no time, he called up the first Osuwa on the list. Ho-ho! You're the one who just mysteriously called about Hitomi and Maria. Bingo! That definitely wasn't English. Bingo! Minorikawa couldn't help but pump his fist in excitement. He'd gotten the right place on his first try. Way to go, me! He committed the house number listed in the phone book to memory. Just then, the waitress reappeared with a disgruntled expression and Minorikawa's order of spaghetti and holly. Here you are, sir. Oh? The pasta was piled high with an impressive amount of grated cheese. It looked almost like a miniature mountain of snow. You did say lots of cheese, sir, the waitress told him. She set down a canister of cheese and a bottle of Tabasco. And that's like hot dogs in there? This dish is fascinating. I have made myself Japanese-style ketchup-flavored pasta before, but I have not made spaghetti Napolitan. This is a bizarre-looking dish, and I love it, and I kind of want to eat it, except not with the hot dogs. Tabasco, a sauce made by the US-based Nickel Henny Company, consisting of hot peppers, green vinegar, and rock salt. Known for its distinctive spiciness, it can make spaghetti and pizza quite tasty with the addition of just a few drops. Tabasco also goes pretty well with ramen and curry, recommended for times when flavor is lacking a little punch. However, even one drop may be too much for those who can't handle spicy things. It has been claimed that Tabasco was first imported to Japan by a certain well-known former pro wrestler, but the story isn't true. By Sylvester Stallone, huh? Ooh, this looks good, Minorikawa exclaimed. He twirled some spaghetti up with his fork and shoved it into his mouth. The slightly sour sweetness of the ketchup blended perfectly with the mellow flavor of the cheese. Oh, that is tasty! There was nothing like satisfying grub to lift the spirits. He turned back to his laptop, still wolfing down the spaghetti. All right, we're back in action. Let's do this! Yet again, he unthinkingly blurted his words aloud as he slipped back into writing mode. I've got this! With ketchup smeared around his mouth, he set his fingers typing away at the keys. Spaghetti Napolitan is also a dish that is commonly given to children. We just let out another groan of dismay. Huh? You say something? Minorikawa glanced in the direction, but the waitress faked a smile. No, sir. I don't think so. Yeah? What? Then go away. You're distracting me. The moment he looked away, she clenched her fist in indignation. Nothing, sir. Good luck with your work, sir. I don't need luck. I've got this. Eyes jumping back and forth between pasta and computer, Minorikawa got to work on his copy once more. Before long, he was oblivious to every sound of the cafe around him. When he finally snapped out of writing mode, he glanced at his watch. It was 2:20. Almost time for him to head to his next interview. Better get a move on. Hello! Simply Ash was taken. What can I call you? Ash? Wastaken? Taken? Oh, simply Ash was taken. Oh, okay. So should I call you simply Ash? Or just Ash? I think I should call you Ash. Minorikawa is the best. And his actor has such great physical humor. The way that he chose to eat that spaghetti. Thank you, Trixie. The way that he chose to eat that spaghetti is just phenomenally funny, right? He just... Wastaken. I'm reading a lot of Japanese right now, just, you know. I'm sorry. Oh, thanks, Ash. So I don't know. I've somehow fallen in love with Kaji, even though for a while I was just like fucking Kajiwara, like every time he showed up. For a while it was fucking Minorikawa, and now it's like, Minorikawa, everything about you and how you've been presented is amazing. Like the fucking spaghetti. There's no way that the director told him to do that. He just fucking did that. Mizuka's taxi came by just as Mirakawa was hurrying out of the cafe. The two fruit guts. One with a pocket, with the fucking dimensional pocket of holding, and the other with a dimensional asshole of holding. I don't know, why are we on auto? Don't be on auto. Don't do that. Well, what a pleasant surprise, Mirakawa called out. Nice timing, my man. Himizuka's startled look quickly vanished behind an expression of professional resignation. Do you need a ride, sir? You know it, Mirakawa replied. Oh, it's his taxi driver. Look at like this dope action hero album cover bullshit. First, head to Shoto. After that, I'll need to get to Sakuragaoka. Oh, I murdered that, Sakuragaoka. As he cast his gaze out at the sights of the city, Mirakawa mulled over his plan for the next part of the day. First, he'd interview the Miss Miroyama girls. Then he'd meet with the head of that theater troupe. In order to leave himself enough time to write his copy, that meant. I'd like to get this all wrapped up in 20 minutes, he said. Can you make that happen? He was like a flash grin. That will incur a special fare, sir. Ooh, special, Miroikawa said as he got settled in his seat. Love that word. Kimizuka stepped on me. I figured out that Ayakuniki is a real person last time I did this. I don't know if you knew that, Ash. Shibuya was a town of contrasts. It was a town of young people. Unpretentious, energetic. Scramble intersection in Center Eye perfectly conveyed that vibrancy. However, if one turned right into the 109 building and headed down Kumkumura Gori, the town's whole atmosphere changed. Shoto was one of Shibuya's, indeed, one of Tokyo's most upscale residential districts. Wherever one looked, there were stately manor houses giving off an imposing air, sending the message that this is no place for the common folk. Right here's fine. Minorikawa directed Kimizuka. Pull over. I guess it's Kimitsuka. And it wouldn't be Z, it would be Zoo. Mitsuka. Oh, that's difficult. Wait here for me. I'll be right back. Hopping out of the taxi, he checked the nameplates of the nearby homes. Go. He'd spotted a nameplate that read, Osawa. Kenji Osawa, huh? The name nagged at him somehow. Been in the back of his mind ever since he'd seen it in the phone book back at the cafe. Yes, in the past. You wrote a salacious article about him marrying Ai. It's all coming together. Had he heard it someplace before? He walked up to the gate and pressed the button for the intercom. Even the little chime it made when pressed sounded elegant. You're such a child! Minorikawa waited, but there was no response. He looked at his watch. It's 2:30 now. His interview with Shinosuke Oarai of the Wandering Angels was supposed to have started already. Wandering Angels. Divine. Episode 3. There has been an Episode 1 and Episode 2 of these, for those who don't know this game. This is just some short story. I love this game. Okay. With help from Shinichi Bando, Mondo was able to get out of his apartment. Then, when all the players had finally assembled, the troupe proceeded with one last rehearsal before showtime. But again, tragedy struck. Mondo came down with food poisoning after eating his lunch. Mondo. Yeah. He was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance, and the Angels were once again lacking an actor for the key role of Shido. Oharai was on the verge of panic. Finally, however, he came up with a solution. Novice actor Takio Amo would take on the part. Still, he waited to meet with the twins first. He wanted to meet with the twins first, if it was possible. He had to make a choice. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So, in my mind, getting someone who is this enthusiastic about reporting on this kidnapping case is vital. So, I'm gonna make him wait a little bit longer. I also know the plot of Canaan. He decided to wait a little bit longer. Just 5 more minutes. Front door opened. Oh, shit. In handcuffs! A grim-looking man emerged, leading another man in handcuffs. What a... Kaji! This has gotta be like a play. Minorikawa was standing in their way. Pardon us, the serious-looking fellow said. He gave Minorikawa a curt bow as he passed by. Minorikawa smelled the distinct odor of a scoop. Oh, really? I don't know. Did the handcuffs give it away? Hey, does that guy live here? He asked. The man ignored him and kept moving, but Minorikawa followed. He couldn't let this opportunity pass him by. Hey, wait up! Is that Mr. Osawa? With a grimace, the man pushed Minorikawa aside and hurried his handcuffed prisoner along. Is it Osawa? I settled on Osawa, but you know what? I'm gonna make the internet tell me. Osawa. Oh, I'm correct! Hey! Loving it. Love when I'm not a fuck-up. Whatever was going on here, he doubted he'd be able to get an interview with the twin girls right now. This had all been an unfortunate waste of time. He had no real choice but to head along to his next interview. A few minutes later, the rear tire skidded sharply as the cab came to a stop beside a different curb. The trip from Shoto to the theater in Sakuragaoka had taken almost no time at all. Here we are, sir, Mitsuka announced. Wow, that was fast. Still, Minorikawa was at least 5 minutes behind schedule. He hoped he'd still be able to get the interview with Uorai. I definitely feel like I should. I'm gonna wait till I'm done with this, but it's time to go check on Osawa. For sure. I lost what I was doing. I went to look up Orai as well because I just view it as disrespectful to mispronounce names. But I am correct and I need to stop doubting my pronunciation. Oh, well, looks like we're done. Time to check on Osawa. Osawa. Here we come. Oh, that's right. That's why he was in handcuffs. I did that last week. Okay, yeah. He said it was all him. So let's fix this. Hey. I think I've got to go back to this choice, of course. Where? Where was Mr. Tonoka headed? Kajiwara asked. He eyed Osawa keenly. For work, I sent him to pick up some document. Feel like I had picked B. I must... So I've been doing bad ends-ish every hour. I have had a guide up, not because I pick it all the time, but because some of these scenes are very, very long, and I don't want to have to replay them. While I'm still getting the whole story. So, I mean, it's a lot of reading. Not that I am opposed to it, but so I have 23 of them. I'm supposed to have 40, so, you know, about half. That's about where I'm at as far as keeping, I suppose, on track. When I look at the guide, if it seems like a short enough bad ending, I go ahead and do it. Or if it seems like because some of the bad endings you have to get in order to get the most expedient version of a really long scene. So I'm trying to be a little strategic about it. However, I am intending on going back and getting all the bad endings, at least the ones that are easy to get. And I do know about the special episodes, and I have been getting them. To work. I sent him to pick up some documents. A necessary lie. If Tonako was behind the kidnapping, Wolsawa knew he ought to tell the police about the blue minivan and the emails from Hibumi. But still, he just couldn't believe that his assistant really was the culprit. We have the investigators en route to Tanaka's condominium, Kajiwara said. Let's wait for them to report in. Far side of the room, I was squawking in frustration. Despite several attempts, she hadn't been able to get through to Tanaka. Kajiwara's phone rang, and he pulled it from his pocket. Oh, me too, Ash. Actually, this game, especially... Oh, I'm gonna click so that stops. Especially, Osawa, really kind of terrifies me. And the way that they handle his photography with all of these squares and these really austere, desaturated scenes, and how they, like, throw in this really, like, imposing and intimidating red and orange light during stressful moments, really can get under me. When they kick in the, for lack of better description, the African drum music, I start to get an adrenaline rush too, because I'm very upset about that whole situation. Tunnel, what's going on? He headed into one corner as he spoke into the receiver. I suppose that'd be alright. What for, though? A few more quiet words. Kajiwara held the phone out full assault. One of the investigators on the scene would like to speak with you. Running confusion, Osawa took hold of the phone. I did get the brain freeze ending. Oh, so stressful. It was so stressful. Zem, I can hear it in your voice. Yeah, it really gets... I mean, you know, in another world, maybe I get picked as a voice actress or something like that. Ash, no kidding. I actually had something similar to that happen. I don't really have nightmares, I have these super vivid dreams, and I had a really vivid one the other day, and it included something like that. I really feel like this game, for as much as it has this superficial humor, it's not superficial, it's hilarious, but that's what makes when it chooses to be legitimately disturbing and even from 2008 have a commentary that's still relevant. I think that's what makes it so jarring. And they're real people. You can't pretend this is happening to someone else. You can't distance yourself. There's no uncanny valley. Also, hello, Zem. Also speaking. Can I help you? This is Detective Kano, the fliffy-flaffy foofy-fafa from the Shibuya precinct. Time is critical, so I need to just cut to the chase here. There's a pause as the speaker took a deep breath before continuing. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter, Hitomi? Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? The antiviral research was top secret. So how did some detective from the Shibuya precinct know about it?
Oh, well, that's a jump.
This one doesn't. Also, a story alternates between creepy scenes like brain freeze and goofy parts when Kajiwara is there. Kaji, I think, is designed to be. So I've been thinking a lot about how they use the photography in Osawa and Kajiwara's moments. Kaji is always deeply saturated, even when it's a desaturated dark scene that's Osawa style with the bright orange or bright red. Kaji gets yanked up to 11. And I've been thinking that his sort of anime exterior, they're writing a little manga about him. He has this, is designed to, yeah, Kajiwara's banana or Kajiwara's food or Kaji's apron. Like, it's always these things that come from Kaji's pocket. And these things are impossible, right? They can't actually fit in the real world. So I've been thinking a lot about it being how, you know, depression, maybe even autism kind of boxes. Because Kaji reads autistic just as much as Osawa reads autistic, right? Very neurodivergent people. How this box of perspective can really lock you into this hyper intensity. And how it can do it from both sides. Oh yeah, this is ADHD Central. We are about it here. Welcome, Ash, Google Gobble, one of us. So there's this idea to me that identity and perspective is what's cornering these men into these both extreme positions. Kaji being sort of extremely unreal and Osawa being extremely real. Alright, Kano. Nope, I can't go. Never mind. Osawa was bewildered. I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter? He told me. I'm not sure I understand the question. I know what this syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. Osawa's mind went blank when he heard what Kano said next. He could give no reply. Mr. Osawa, the detective continued after a moment. Is everything all right? Without really thinking, Osawa hung up. Oh, is he gonna... Oh, this is the guilty one too? Oh. Okay. Let's try this jump. Will you let me jump to Kano here? I really like Pretty Honey. I think she's the perfect conservative youth who doesn't understand what's going on. I also think that she's the woman at the coffee shop. I imagine Osawa and Kajiwara interact like a depressed man and an anime character. Yeah, yeah. Like, literally, I think of them as, like... Hold on, it's coming to me. Like Arthur Dent and Marvin. The only woman among the members, however, was Pretty Honey. The thread continued. I know there's a jump here. I'm just don't remember where. These things are always kind of creepy. Thanks, Trixie Victor. He says trickster. She knows the kajiwara. Okay, where's this jump? It might be in a yeah. She does not, unfortunately. So also Ayu did not. For this whole time I was calling Aya Kamiki legally distinct to Yumi Hamasaki. And I feel really bad knowing she's a real person, but she is legally distinct to Yumi Hamasaki. And Ayu couldn't make it, so I don't really think that Aya could. Yeah, I know. Sometimes they're in the tips. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm just seeing... I think it's when Kajiwara answers the phone, no matter when he answers the phone. I think. Oh, no. I lied. I just looked over at the chart and it's like, select the pretty honey tip. Yeah, I know. Oh, right. Incidentally, Shinya Kano's girlfriend Rumi also posted that. Hi, Kano. You baffy motherfucker. I started with such a crush on Kano, and then he turned out to be this indecisive little blip of a bloop. Uza's voice came in over the wireless as the car came out onto Maijidori. We've identified the owner of the condominium. It's Mamoru Tanaka. How dare you? How dare you have a name like that? The Shield? You're not a shield! He's a colleague of Kenji Osawa. What? Kano squawked? That was an unexpected twist. Kajiwara affirms that Tanaka left the Osawa residence at just after 1400 hours. No word on his movements since then. It's possible he headed to his private condo, where the attaché case is slated to end up. Any officer who runs across Tanaka is to apprehend him on site. Uza cut the connection. This mastermind you've been chasing, Kano asked. The Tanaka? Stanley didn't reply. Fine. Never mind. I just wish I could know if Tatano is safe. Still worried about that traitor, huh? Agent Smith, I just need you to understand. 1, I can see that your ears are pierced twice, Agent Smith. 2, you're a dick! You're a fucking dick! So Stanley could ignore all of his questions, but still remember to make snide remarks. Very American of him. Talking about Tatano's the only thing that gets a reaction out of you, isn't it? Snorted. What makes you so certain he can't be a traitor? Tatano just isn't like that. That's not answer, Stanley scoffed. All right, I've watched the man work for years. I know him. He has no reason to betray the Force. You've watched him work, huh? What about his private life, then? You know all about that, too? He hasn't had money trouble or anything like that? Kano felt his blood starting to boil. I don't care what you think, Lai. He said, I trust Detective Tatano. Trust him? On what basis? I don't need any basis to have faith in someone, Kano snapped. Without any basis in fact, it's just plain sentimentality, Stanley said. There's no reason or logic to it. Then smile came to its face. Be they friends or family, you never really know other people. The only person you can trust, yourself. Kano had no response for such an emotionless statement. He looked away. He and Stanley were just plain incompatible. It seemed like no amount of talking would let them get through to one another. Never take anything at face value, Kano. You start trusting too much, you're basically as good as dead. Kano just stared out the window. You should go back to being a police box cop, Kano. The Shibuya precinct came into view. Hanako's condo wasn't much further now. They were outside of Hanako's condo now. Over there, Stanley said, keeping his down. You have amazing hair, sir. Across the street was one of the foreign syndicate members, walking briskly, the attaché case clutched at his side. I'm making the arrest. Kano, wait! Stanley exclaimed. Kano heard him loud and clear, but he had no intention to stop. He approached with the criminal at full speed, with left to tackle him around the waist. The two men fell to the pavement and entangled. The collision sent the attaché case flying. Kano's eyes tracked the case for a moment too long. He was caught off guard when the man threw a punch at him. Aha! The blow caught him right in the jaw, snapping his head back. For a moment, Kano saw stars as he shook up the impact. The man sprang to his feet, sprinted away in the direction of Stanley's car. Stanley! Kano shouted. Grab him! Stanley ignored the man, and instead went for the attaché case. You American! Oh, come on! Really? Kano had no choice but to pursue the perp himself. He hadn't come this far just to let the crooks get away now. Suddenly, the fleeing man skidded to a stop. Several cars had pulled across the road ahead. Detectives were pouring out of them. I want your conditioner, sir. His escape route cut off, the criminal resigned himself to capture. While Kano helped make the arrest, several of the other detectives broke into Tanaka's condo. Stanley, meanwhile, was carefully inspecting the exterior of the attaché. He'd already opened it. It was stuffed with bundles of banknotes. 50 million yen ransom was back in place. This is a decoy, the American muttered. I love how all over Japan and people living there, there's Stanley. I love that they specifically, they found every gaijin in Tokyo, right? I feel like they found every gaijin of a certain height and a certain look who could reasonably be anything from white to Middle Eastern, and were like, you're part of the syndicate. And then they were like, you look like the Matrix. You're the FBI agent. I wonder where his words trailed off, but Kano had heard them. What did you expect? The detective demanded. Samples of that new drug in there? As usual, Stanley gave no reply. The look on his face, however, told Kano he'd been right on the mark. Kano turned to them, feeling a sudden surge of anxiety for Maria. What's the situation in there? He asked. They told him that they'd found no one. So the hostage's status remained unknown, and the main culprit had evaded capture. This case hadn't been solved. In fact, it was still unfolding in the worst way conceivable. Still, Stanley remained focused on the attaché case, pondering it with a thoughtful expression. Look, Colonel told him, I'm going to request that I be returned to my normal duties. Maria still needs to be rescued, and I still need to find out what happened to Hitomi and Detective Tatano. For once, Stanley actually responded. Hitomi? Yes, that's it! It makes perfect sense that they'd have her carry it. Huh? What do you mean? This whole attaché case relay was a fake-out. Whoa, slow down, Kano said, wishing he could calm himself with his words. Explain what you're talking about. Somehow, the kidnappers made contact with Kenji Osawa and got him to have Hitomi carry the drug, separate from the ransom. Wait, you're saying that Hitomi bring them the drug? Stanley nodded. The case handoffs were a sort of camouflage, a way for them to keep the police distracted from their real goal. Kano nodded. It had indeed felt like the case relay was a decoy, an attempt to buy time. The syndicate were after something else entirely. That would explain why so many of their actions had appeared to make no sense. So, Kano asked, what sort of drug is this? Why would they go to such lengths to get their hands on me? It's an antiviral, Stanley replied after some hesitation. A way to cure people infected with a very particular virus. What virus are we talking about? It's called UA. Kana never heard of it. Still, he could imagine the possibilities. Suppose this UA was something like the Ebola virus. Two on the nose. Discovered in Sudan in 1976, infection causes Ebola hemorrhagic fever, resulting in a high fever and massive bleeding throughout the body. At present, there is no vaccine to prevent infection, nor any drug to cure the disease after it manifests. Or perhaps HIV. Human immunodeficiency virus. HIV destroys the cells that are essential for regulating cell-mediated immunity, considerably reducing immune response. This effect can result in infections that would ordinarily be fought off, easily developing into serious illnesses. There are various treatments, but as of yet, nothing that will eradicate the virus completely. But as of 2026, we cured someone completely of HIV. Even the all-too-familiar influenza. An infectious disease caused by the influenza virus. Symptoms are similar to that of the common cold, but are much more severe, occasionally resulting in death. There are three main types of the virus, A, B, and C, and COVID, with A and B causing the typical run of the illness in humans. Neuraminidase is recommended for an effective inhibitor, but this merely alleviates the symptoms and is not a complete cure. There are medicines that could treat all of those diseases, but nothing that could cure them completely. Any drug that could do that would be worth vast sums of money. Connell, do you have any means of getting in touch with Mr. Osawa? Yes. I know one of the detectives stationed at his home. Check in with him ASAP. Find out whether or not he gave the antiviral to Hitami. Connell suppressed a scowl. Looked like he wasn't done assisting Stanley yet. He got at his cell phone and dialed up kajiwara. Kajiwara picked up promptly. Connell! What's going on? Did I speak with Mr. Osawa? I suppose that'd be alright. What for, though? There's something I need him to confirm for me. It's an emergency. Alright? Just make sure not to tell him anything about the investigation. Sure thing. Immediately betrays Kaji's. Thank you, Trixie. After a while, a man's hoarse voice came over the line. Osawa speaking. Can I help you? This is Detective Kano from the Shibuya precinct. Time is critical, so I need to just cut to the chase here. Kano took a deep breath. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitami? Osawa let out a gasp. Alright. Dodger. Okay. Let's try this again. Except this time. We're gonna jump from here. Maybe this will undo it. You're British. Fly with us to Japan to run around with this briefcase. Yeah, screw him. Screw. Okay, I understand. There. Beep. Yay! Hello, Kano. Let's remove your keep out. I'm happy you're growing, it's fine. Even if you won't bury Remy, probably. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter, Hitami? Also, I let out a gasp. What? What are you talking about? I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter, Hitami? I'm not sure I understand the question. Also, his voice trembled as he spoke. Oh no, for sure he hit the nail right on the head. I know what this syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. It's you. Osawa remained silent. I know it's not him. I figured this would be a quick battle. It's definitely Hitami. Also was startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? The antiviral research was top secret, so how did some detective from the Shibuya precinct know about it? Osawa was bewildered. I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitami? I'm not sure I understand the question. I can do it here. I quote lots of people who say things that I find delightful. Mr. Osawa. Osawa's mind went blank when he heard what Kano said next. He could give no reply. Mr. Osawa, the detective continued after a moment. Is everything alright? Without really thinking, Osawa hung up. Osawa staggered out of the living room. He needed to be alone. To his surprise, kajiwara didn't try to stop him. No, you can't be without your kaji. Oh no. Shutting his study door behind him, he dropped into his sofa, then got out a bottle of pills. He stared at it, thinking back on what the detective had told him. I know what the syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. It's you. Detective Kano had a point. From a financial perspective, Osawa's discoveries, indeed Osawa himself, were incredibly valuable. Immersed as he was in his research, he had never imagined he'd become a target. Kidnappers had used that artlessness to catch him completely off his guard. He thought back to the emails that A had sent him. For now, they were just stringing him along, but before long, the guilt bombs might turn into more direct threats. They would extort his money, steal his research, and finally have him killed. It was so easy to see what their plan was now. And the worst of it was, he wasn't their only target. Kidnapping Mario would only be A's first step. Osawa contemplated in horror how his family would all be victimized because of him. There's only one thing he could do. Oh, Jesus. He poured a mound of sleeping pills out into his hand. Then, without any hesitation, he gulped down the lot. The effect on his body was slow to start, but he felt a deep and irresistible drowsiness begin to creep over him. As his consciousness was starting to fade, he heard the distant sound of the front door chime. Moments later, the study door opened, and Kajiwara peered inside to see Osawa lying on the floor. Mr. Osawa! Are you okay? Mr. Osawa! The detective's voice was rapidly fading out. Osawa surrendered to the irresistible urge to drift into sleep. His mouth gaped open. Hey, it's come from me. Those were his last words. No, really, Sash? The threat of A. When he heard that he was the kidnapper's target, the stricken Osawa decided to commit suicide by overdosing on sleeping pills. This is all because of what Kano said to him. Simple error in word choice led Osawa to a completely wrong conclusion. Kano ought to properly inform Osawa just what the kidnappers are after. Yes. Yes, it does appear so. That's not... No, it's not a good ending. I would not say so. So let's go back here. We're just gonna do all of the answers. It's Hitomi. Osawa remained silent. Mr. Osawa, is everything alright? I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be it's the virus, but we're gonna do them all. Guess that answers well enough, Cole said as he put away his phone. Oh, now it was clear why the criminals were after Hitomi. He saw an uneasy look on Stanley's face. Something on your mind? Kano asked. Stanley responded with a question of his own. Hitomi was carrying the antiviral. How were the criminals planning on getting it from her? Her fucking blood, dude. Kano thought for a moment. Well, taking her by force at the scramble posed too high a risk, he said. There were nearly 100 detectives there, and they must have guessed there would be. That's why they devised the attaché case relay. They wanted to abduct Hitami somewhere away from the Dragnet's notice. This was the plan that all the signs seemed to suggest. But still, he added, I wonder how they managed to lead her away from police protection. A look of revelation crossed Stanley's face. All they'd need to do was convince her to go of her own accord. But how? Kano asked. And then it came to him. He thought back to Hitami's initial contact with Tariq Al-Karawan. Just before he'd taken the attaché case from her, the two had a brief conversation. It's possible Al-Karawan had given Hitami some form of instructions then. Yeah, no shit! Wow, you're very slow, Kano. Guess we're back to tracking down Al-Karawan again, huh? Kano could tell from the look in Stanley's eyes that he was on the verge of saying something. Probably some remark about how Tatano had allowed Al-Karawan to run free. Right now, Kano wasn't going to argue the point. After this case was resolved, he'd discover what Tatano's real motives were. And once he did, Stanley would eat his words. In the meantime, we can't just wander around looking without any leads, he said. Until we get more intel, let's see what we can do with the security cameras back at the precinct. Numerous monitors shone down on the pair as they entered the Shibuya precinct surveillance room. Each showed an array of faces of individuals somewhere in Shibuya. Kano asked one of the operators to pull up Al-Karawan's data on a screen. Oh wow, you look so much more handsome in your photo. By selecting each of the faces on the monitors in turn, they could run comparisons to determine if anyone among them was Al-Karawan. This technology actually works, very rare. Usually, games like this, they just bullshit. One by one, the operator made his way through the faces, assuming their target was still in Shibuya. There was a high likelihood they'd find him. But the minutes passed and there was still no sign of him. Kano's tone grew more and more impatient as he directed the operator's search. Just calm down, Stanley said. He set a hand on Kano's shoulder. You keep wasting your energy when you don't need to. That's just how I do things, Kano replied. I'm energetic because I care. He pointed out another face to the operator. Well, you're setting yourself up for a short life. With a sigh, Stanley stank. You do stink, Stanley. Stanley sank into a nearby chair. My brother was like you. The American spoke so quietly that his words were barely audible. Oh, Stanley, you're a human somewhere? 10 minutes later, a man clad in black appeared on one of the monitors. Hello, Tariq. The operator lined up his cursor. The comparison check confirmed that it was Al-Karawan. Yes! Kano hissed, pumping his fist. It appeared that their quarry was simply walking around town, calm and composed. Kano radioed in Al-Karawan's location, Kuza. All units, intercept the suspect on the double, Kuza ordered. Kano will provide guidance, using the surveillance monitors. He saw Al-Karawan stop in front of a cigarette vending machine. Was he waiting for someone? Tsushiyama reporting. I've got eyes on the Mutt. Mutt? You're fine. Mutt, perpetrator. Hook, to put someone in cuffs. Dipper, pickpocket. Wants, outstanding warrants. Hang paper. Write multiple citations. And other such traditional police jargon. Kato's partner had evidently been nearby. I'm making the arrest, he said. There was a note of courage in Tsushiyama's voice. He came into view on the monitor, walking casually. Oh! That's a good look for you, Tsushiyama. Except the visor. At some point, he ditched his anime nerd costume for a street dancer's getup. It didn't appear that Al-Karawan had noticed him yet. Bit by bit, Tsushiyama closed the distance. Not much further now. Kano's hand balled into his fist and something. Another man came running into view, right in the middle of the monitor. Man, defined. Teru, Toyama, was searching for Hana at Shibuya Gigo. He was located by a duo of debt collectors and fled the scene. Hana left Gigo to find him and ran into him here in Maruyamacho. Kara heading toward Koendori, trying to find a place to hide. Teru! No! Toyama, why? There was no sound, but they could see that the newcomer was shouting something. As Al-Karawan turned to look at the man, Tsushiyama launched himself like a bullet from a gun. In an instant, Detective and Perp were locked in a violent scuffle right there on the street. Kano swallowed a lump in his throat as he watched the struggle unfold. Earlier in the day, Al-Karawan had done a number on Tsushiyama. This time, the detective had the upper hand. He got a grip on Al-Karawan's neck and kneed him repeatedly. Al-Karawan tried desperately to bring Tsushiyama to the ground. but Sasayama braced himself and avoided the takedown. Then he shifted his stance and took Alcaro onto the pavement with a spectacular hip throw. Yes! Kano clapped his hands together in excitement. Catching the perp in a scarf hold, Sasayama got out his handcuffs. Scarf hold, defined. Technique in judo involves wrapping an arm around the opponent's neck while performing an upper body pin. Stanley, we should head back to the scene, Kano said. He looked away from the monitor for a mere moment, and when he looked back, Sasayama had released his hold and crumbled to the ground. What? Panicked, Kano stared at the image of his friend. There was something jutting up from... Oh, Jesus. Sasayama's abdomen. Zoom in! Kano cried frantically. The camera closed in on him. Now Kano could see exactly what he'd feared. Sasayama, stabbed in the gut. Blood pooled on the pavement around him. Kano screamed, Sasayama! The camera showed several other detectives capturing Alcaro before he could escape. Pool of blood around him spread further and further. Unable to look any longer, Kano rushed from the surveillance room. What balls? Okay. Okay. Anyone, what's Maria doing? We'll worry about Maria in a second. I'm gonna stick in this corner. Also, I'll remain silent. We're gonna jump over to Osawa here. Because if that's the ending to be continued for Kano, then Osawa is not going to die this time. Maybe. Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? The antiviral research was top secret. So how did some detective from the Shibuya precinct know about it? Osawa was bewildered. I'm the one asking the questions here, Mr. Osawa. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter Hitami? I'm not sure I understand the question. I know what this syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. Osawa's mind went blank when he heard what Kano said next. He could give no reply. Mr. Osawa, the detective continued after a moment. Is everything all right? Beep. Without really thinking, Osawa hung up. Osawa staggered out of the living room. He needed to be alone. To his surprise, try to stop him. No! Don't be like this. Shutting his study door behind him, he dropped onto a sofa, then grabbed 3 times his normal dosage of stomach pills. There was no water in the room, so he had to swallow them dry. Detective Kano's words echoed in his mind. I know what the syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. Hitami. There was only one reason they could be after Hitami. He broke out in a cold sweat as he began to understand what this kidnapping was really about. It all started 6 days earlier. It's April 22nd. Osawa had just returned from the United States the day before. He was in the midst of some routine work at the General Research Lab when his cell phone rang. The LCD display showed an unlisted call. Some hesitation. I picked up. Hello? Is this Kenji Osawa? The caller was using a voice modulator. Voice modulator, defined. A type of device or software used to make one's voice sound different. Changing a voice to the point of making a voice print or tone analysis impossible presents a major challenge. To be able to do so in real time requires major financial and technological resources. Or AI, but this is, almost 20 years ago. Osawa raised an eyebrow. Yes? Squares! This is the first time he's in white, though. What does blue represent? Let's find out. Calmness, stability, and fidelity. Okay, but this is indigo. This is specifically Japan blue. Commoners, they wear this. In the Edo period, sumptuary laws prohibited commoners from wearing bright colors or noble hues like purple. Indigo quickly became the staple color for commoners' clothing and everyday textiles. It's also closely associated with spring and youth, adolescence, seishun. Translates literally to blue spring. It symbolizes the fresh, sometimes naive, and energetic period of life. Yeah, before the fall. Okay. Her blood? If you don't, she's going to die. With that, the collar hung up. There was an intensity behind this that made Osawa sure it wasn't just some prank call. He had Hitomi come into the lab ASAP. He told Hitomi he wanted a sample of her blood for an experiment. She agreed, suspecting nothing. He placed some of the blood he'd drawn into a glass slide, then added some fluorescein, a type of fluorescent dye. Fluorescein, defined. A yellow-green liquid, type of fluorescent dye, chiefly used in preparing specimens for viewing under fluorescent microscope, but it has other uses as well, such as a diagnostic reagent administered in eye exams. Its highest volume use is on St. Patrick's Day, when massive amounts of fluorescein are used to dye the Chicago River green. No. No. I had it louder for disco because it's all dialogue. So chances are I just forgot to turn it down. And Ash was just like, I hear her. It's fine. Ash, PB, Ash. Type of fluorescent dye. A type of dye that causes the dyed substance to emit higher wavelength fluorescent light when illuminated with a certain other type of light. Such dyes can reveal fine details when used on specimens viewing through a fluorescent microscope. Placing the slide under a fluorescence microscope, he took a look. Can't be. Osawa could hardly believe his eyes. Wriggling under the microscope was the Grim Reaper's sickle itself. There was no mistaking it. Hitomi was infected with the Uwa virus. Trembling, Osawa hurried to his computer. He opened the Uwa virus folder on his monitor. Within were images showing the stages of the virus's propagation. He double-clicked to magnify the first image. The Reaper's sickles were interlocked with one another. He clicked on the next image. And further propagation, the Uwa virus looked less like a sickle, more a sort of insectoid larva. Next was the final image. Interlocked into a single mass, the Uwa virus vaguely resembled a sinister, many-petaled sunflower. It took a mere 12 hours for the pathogen to develop to this point and begin its hideous destruction of the human body. Hitomi's infection sample was still in the state shown in the first image. There was still a chance to save her. Osawa slumped back in his chair, huddling in on himself. He had no choice. There was only one way to save Hitomi. He would have to administer the nearly completed antiviral. Using the antiviral without official approval was a grievous violation of company policy. Violation of company policy, defined. Acting against company rules and regulations, Okoshi Pharmaceutical prohibits leaking work-related information to outsiders. In the case of a major violation, not only can the violator be fired, but the company may also seek indemnities. Still, Osawa didn't have time to get the higher-ups to approve a clinical trial. He might be punished severely for it, but this was his only option. His daughter's life was at stake. There was also another, even bigger hurdle in his way. The antiviral drug was stored in the deepest recesses of the biochemical research building. A high-intensity X-ray scanner was set up at the entrance to the storage area. This made it impossible for him to take research materials out. X-ray, defined. A type of radiation, also referred to as Röntgen rays, with a shorter wavelength than UV light, but a longer wavelength than gamma rays. Because X-rays can penetrate many objects with little absorption or scattering, they can be used to create images of internal structure. Hospitals, for example, use X-ray technology to examine the insides of patients' bodies, while security personnel use it to scan luggage at airports and to search for bombs. Well, if he couldn't get the antiviral out of there, he'd just have to bring Hitomi in. A course of action quickly took shape in his mind. First, he'd need to slip out of the general research building. He would then head to the biochemical research facility and show his ID card to the guard at the front gate. ID card. Identification card. Many facilities that carry out highly classified research assign different levels of security clearance to individual researchers, and only those with suitable clearance, as indicated by their ID cards, are admitted to restricted areas. Development of more advanced technologies, such as electronic ID tags, are replacing older barcode-type entry cards. Ah, 2008. After passing through a lobby under the watchful gaze of several security cameras, he'd reach an elevator at the end of the hall that went directly to the storage section. This elevator required an ID card scan to operate. It would take about 20 seconds to get down to the first basement level and arrive at the entrance to the storage area. Finding an excuse to get Hitomi that far ought to be doable. If the security guard got suspicious, Osawa could say it was for a top-secret hematology experiment, and the guard would probably believe him. The problem was what came after. Getting into the storage area itself required fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. This meant that he couldn't possibly get the antiviral without Tanaka's cooperation. Desperate with uncertainty, Osawa called up Tanaka. He frantically explained the situation. Understood, Tanaka replied. We need to get her this drug as soon as possible. If the company finds out about this, you'll be held accountable for violation of corporate policy along with me. Are you sure you're okay with that? What are you talking about? Hitomi's life is more important than company policy. Interesting. Tanaka spoke without hesitation. Osawa felt an immense surge of gratitude for his assistant. And I have to say, I'm deeply moved by your determination, Tanaka added. Moved? Whatever for? You really are worried about Hitomi. Osawa's gratitude faded. What are you talking about? Of course I am. My apologies. It's just that putting your career on the line for something so personal is... It's what? It's not like me? No. Well, yes. I'm sorry. Now Tanaka's voice was colored with embarrassment. So what sort of person do you think I am? Osawa resisted the urge to ask the question out loud. A short time later, Osawa and Tanaka stood before the door to the secure storage area. The security guard had let them in without the slightest suspicion. Osawa pressed his index finger to the fingerprint scanner first. Accepted. He realized he'd been holding his breath as his authorization finally went through. Half a moment later, Tanaka... He does look goofy, doesn't he? Half a moment later, Tanaka touched his own finger to the scanner plate. Accepted. The lock released with an audible clang, and the heavy door opened. Osawa hurried to retrieve the antiviral. As he picked up a small vial, he had a sudden realization. They were finally going to use the drug in a human test. You know, actually, PB, something is going on with my gain on my microphone. Been watching my levels for a minute. I'm not succeeding at the gaining gain. I wonder if my voice is just softer. I mentioned I was fighting something. So we'll add a little bit of a compression. His fatherly wish to cure Hitomi. Oh, well, shit. Let me get you a new one, and I'm glad you said something. This should work right now. Let me go see what's going on here. Interesting. Great invite link. Edit invite link. Oh, I see. Okay. Discord added max number of uses. So the invite had expired in that sense. I think it's me. I think that my voice is quieter now that I think about it. I think that I've been fighting something and I feel like I'm just not projecting as much as I usually do. I've been fighting a cold. Thank you for letting me know, Ash. Ideally that link works, correct? And I will be updating that right now so that I don't forget. You know, I've been fighting it for a few days. I'm gonna test this real quick. Okay, yes. So the new link is gonna work 99 more times. Because they don't let you redo it. Okay. Escaping now. Potato. Potato was the first word someone ever said to me during a stream. It was potato. Yeah, I think I'm just speaking more quietly than I usually do. His fatherly wish to cure Hitami was overlaid by an intense rush of curiosity, the researcher's drive to discover his results. Hurry. I need to hurry. I need to administer the antiviral as soon as possible. Or maybe... oh indeed. I have a sound shield on today. Silly me. The first word my mod said after becoming mod was Bob's. Is that what your Discord is? Hurry. I need to hurry. I need to administer the antiviral as soon as possible. Also, I could hardly fend off his excitement. Over the course of the next few hours, following the injection, the Uwa virus would be eradicated from Hitami's body. Alright. Alright. We can stop sassing me now. Thanks, Sound Shield. You're doing your job, but I also need to be loud enough. So let's get it together. There had been some fever and cramping as temporary side effects, but the DDS had done a spectacular job of stomping out the virus. DDS, defined. Drug Delivery System, also known as Smart Drug Delivery. We actually do really call that. We actually do, like, that is what it is called in pharmaceutical and botany, science-y stuff. The ability to target a specific region of the body with a specific drug has momentous implications for the future of medicine. DDS technology is currently being tested extensively around the world. In saving his daughter's life, Osawa had proven the value of his research. If he had been asked which made him happier, he would have been hard-pressed to give an answer. Afterwards, he asked Hitami where she could have become infected, but she had no idea. He explained the need for secrecy and strictly forbade her telling anyone else what had happened. Now a week had passed since Osawa gave the drug to Hitami. Oh man, Tanaka, did you seduce this tiny girl to get her sick? He'd been conducting checks and had discovered that the DDS had not broken down, but remained in Hitami's bloodstream. Extracting the DDS was a simple matter, requiring just a small blood sample from around the nape of the neck. Nape of the neck, defined. The DDS tends to linger in the nape of the neck because of the lymph nodes located there. These lymph nodes identify viruses that invade the body as foreign substances to be attacked, but they are not always able to overcome particularly powerful pathogens. In such cases, the virus propagates rapidly inside of them. Once the patient has been treated, the antiviral will seek out the virus and accumulate there as well. Yeah, I basically had to yank up my OBS level because my sound shield is actually not falling off anymore. So, you know, the dispersal's happening now, and, meh. The DDS itself was simply the delivery system for the antiviral drug. Residual amounts of the antiviral itself stayed behind within the cells. Residual defined. So, what is usually... Okay, momentary science sidebar. What we usually use to create a DDS is literally just fat. Or soap. It's fat or soap. Soap bubbles actually separate things from water, and for the most part, our body is water, and hydrophilic substances are what make us sick. So soap bubbles and fat can spread around this drug, and then boop. So we surround the soap in fat, it gets dissolved, and then the soap goes around the thing and releases inside this sort of cage match, the drug. The materials used to create the DDS must, as a matter of course, cause minimal or no harm to the human body. Ideally, rather than accumulate inside the body, DDS substances should be either digested and absorbed or excreted. Because the antiviral must remain in the body for as long as the virus is active, however, a very careful balance must be struck between persistence and dissipation. Yeah, But you know what? I actually... Oh, hi! Whee! Rolls in and leaves again. Hi, Fox. Hi, Fox. I actually... A literal tumbleweed came in. I love that. No, I actually, for the past few weeks, I've been getting more subscribers to YouTube while streaming than Twitch. Using the DDS, it was possible to extract those minuscule amounts from cells in a blood sample. It might take considerable time, but a sufficiently detailed analysis could allow for the antiviral drug itself to be reconstructed. Osawa felt a chill as he contemplated the situation. The kidnappers had known how tough security was at the lab, so they'd come up with the idea of using a human vessel to get what they needed from within. By infecting Hitami with the Uwa virus, they'd ensured that she'd receive the antiviral, that she'd have it in her blood. If Tanaka was working with the kidnappers, that explained why he'd been so cooperative about the fingerprint scanner. Damn it! Osawa shouted. He clutched his head in his hands. Tanaka had been his partner and trusted confidant for years. Osawa refused to believe he'd been betrayed like this. And then Minorikawa arrived. The front door chime sounded. Mr. Osawa, Kajiwara called out. It appears you have a visitor. Could you handle that? Oh, gee, what the fuck? I love you so goddamn much. Could you, like, handle that? All right. Hey, you! Yeah, welcome back, baby. You haven't missed much. I did, like, a couple bad endings. The most that really has developed is that Hono is, half backboned. One half of a backbone. Ah, here we go. He'd spotted a nameplate that read Osawa. Kenji Osawa, huh? Also, Minorikawa. Because Hitomi. No, stop with this auto. No, stop with the auto. No, thank you. No, stop. You, stop it. Stop. Oh, is it time for you to go live? Ash, I think I've figured out that when is the next 428 session? It starts at noon on Tuesdays. So, noon Pacific time. The goal is to get through each hour, 1 hour a session, but I do actually stream twice on Tuesday, so I have... Oh, you go honk shoes!
Oh, well, that's a good sleep.
Yeah, so... there's go live notices in my Discord, so now that you're part of that, you'll definitely get notifications. Also, what time zone? Pacific time zone. I'm in the US. So, if you're going honk shoe, then that implies Europe. So let me get you the... I'd looked this up once before. Pardon my soda burps here. So 8 hours behind. So... Yeah. Yeah. However, one quick... Yeah, we're not on daylight savings time. So yeah, it should be... Yeah, 8 p.m. So we'll see you next Tuesday at 8. And we'll get going. I usually don't go more than 2 or 3 hours unless the chapter's really long. This one I already did a part of last session, so... but there are announcements in Discord, and... I always do noon-ish. Sometimes I start a little earlier. But I'll make sure to start at noon so you're not missing it. I'm small enough now that I may adjust for other people. Okay. Let's try and not have autoplay. Okay. So. Stressing me out, autoplay. So, over here. He decided to wait a little bit longer. He's still on autoplay? Okay, good. Just 5 more minutes. A woman's voice came through the intercom. Who is it? It's Minorikawa. Where would I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. I don't have time for such nonsense. Please, be on your way. I'm not going anywhere until I get an interview. Interview? Who are you with? The woman's tone had changed now. Maybe Minorikawa could simply talk his way through this. This is a piece for 4-star general gossip. Ah, perfect. I've been wanting to talk to them. Was this one of the Miss Midoriyama winners? Or perhaps it was the girl's mother, eager to boast about her daughter's achievement? Or she's going to punch you in the face. Eye is dangerous. I assume you're familiar with defamation of character, the woman said. Huh? What are you talking about? Article 230 of the Penal Code of Japan defines it as any attack against a person's reputation or societal standing. It's a very serious crime. I know what it is, Minorikawa said. What's your point? He had a bad feeling about this. Why discuss libel laws right before an interview? Oh, I'm not letting you get away with telling me you've forgotten. I wonder if you'll remember once I bring up charges. Her tone was calm and level, but laced with malice. You're talking nonsense, lady. Are you the mother? I've got business with your daughters. Put one of them on the line. Nonsense! The woman's wrath radiated from the intercom. It's your 4-star general gossip that specializes in nonsense! Her voice was so loud that it was cracking. Detective, arrest this man! He's a criminal! Detective, huh? You don't really think I'd fall for that, do you, lady? Oh, contraire. Just who do you think I am? I'm Minoru Minorikawa. He crossed his arms and struck a defiant pose. There are a lot of them. Then the front door opened up and several men came trotting out. Sir, one of the men said, we'd like to ask you a few questions. At the word sir, the man flashed his badge and Minorikawa turned to run on reflex. He hadn't thought she'd actually send detectives after him. Just what the hell had Heaven Publishing done to her? Never mind. He needed to get out of here. He couldn't afford to get arrested right now. Oh dear. Out with it. You abducted that girl, didn't you? Detective, you keep asking me the same question over and over. And I'll keep on asking until you tell me the truth. Look, ask all you want, but I can't tell you what I don't know. Let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Oh, cut the crap! I don't have time for your games. As a matter of fact, you have plenty of time. I can assure you of that. The stubborn detective flashed him a grin. I can keep doing this for days. That's what it takes to get you to confess. So the interrogation went on for hours. In the end, once his innocence had been established, Minorikawa was finally released. He wrote a scathing indictment on his experience. The report shook up the system in a major way. But that's another story for another day. Ding-dong ditch, indeed. Wrongly accused. Minorikawa was arrested for a crime he had nothing to do with. That woman he talked to must really, really hate 4-star general gossip. I know, I saw that magazine. Clearly had no hope of getting anywhere with her, but maybe there's someone more understanding who might answer the intercom instead. Yeah, I know. We're gonna go handle it with Osawa. We're not gonna jump. We're just gonna have him do it. Pardon me. Mr. Osawa, Kajiwara called out. It appears you have a visitor. Could you handle that? Could it possibly be, now of all times? All right. With a sigh, Osawa dragged himself to his feet. Kajiwara, you're just looking at the wall? Oh, at the intercom monitor. Again, all of these squares, squares, squares. All the men look exactly the same. Everything is so static. The intercom's hidden camera showed a man with an unsettling grin posed intimidatingly outside the front gate. Osawa didn't recognize him. Yeah. Who is it? He asked guardedly through the intercom. It's Minorikawa. For some reason, I could say his name every fucking time. But now? No dice. Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. No, very popular last name, actually. Are you playing games with me? I don't have the time for that. Please, just open up. There's no way I'm letting you in, Osawa said. But the nonsensical badgering continued. Look, just hold your horses. I'm here for an interview. You got that? An interview? That's right. It's a piece for 4-star general gossip. The name of the magazine brought up an unpleasant memory. That was the gossip rag that had run the article about his political marriage. Wait. This is for one of those kinds of articles? What do you mean? Those kind of articles? I'm just looking for an interview. The man's tone was both high-handed and belligerent. Like hell you are! I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip! You're not the one I'm here to talk to. I want to interview your twin daughters. My daughters? I understand they won a shared prize for a beauty contest at Midoriyama Academy. If you wouldn't mind my interviewing them, I... Furious. Osawa cut off the interview. This is no time to be indulging someone else's nonsense. Hey, what gives? The man was shouting so loud his voice carried past the gate and through the front door. I'm begging out here! On my hands and knees! He wasn't actually on his hands and knees. Osawa could see that clearly through the intercom monitor. If your daughters aren't home, can you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them? Mr. Osawa, Dora said, frowning. This isn't a good time to have someone drawing attention to your home. All right, I'll get rid of him. Yeah, look at that desaturation. It just follows Osawa everywhere, this, like, distance, coldness. Osawa hurried out of the house, confronting Minorikawa through the front gate. I don't want to jump. It's keep out anyway. The journalist had that tenacious look that immediately marked him as a member of the media. Give me your business card, Osawa said. I'll have them get in touch with you later. He took Minorikawa's card, then went right back inside. Right in the trash. Back in his study, Osua tossed Minorikawa's business card into the trash. Unable to think of what else to do, he tried the internet fortune teller again. You got the same, "You're a very work-minded person" result a second time. You don't get over your indifference to the world might start to harbor quite a grudge. My indifference to the world around me, huh? The truth was that even with his closest companions, even with Tanaka, for instance, his relationship had always been strictly a matter of business. He'd never really taken it upon himself to get to know Tanaka as a person, and that was pretty much the case for everyone he knew. He harbored no interest in other people. He had no concern for his fellow man. That had made itself abundantly clear when he received a microscope as a birthday present, way back in first grade. Even now, he still remembered the shock he'd felt when he looked through that lens for the first time. He discovered a new, almost infinite world hidden in the midst of one he'd always thought was too small. By comparison, the real world seemed bland, ugly. Wherever he looked, wherever he went, he had to contend with tedium. It hadn't taken long for him to become more charmed by the world under his microscope than the one around him. It was like a calm, quiet little seaside, a beach where he could just sit and stare out at the waves. He wanted to stay immersed in that world forever and ever. Before he knew it, he was an adult, and then a husband, and then a father. The people around him thought him an odd fellow, but he hadn't let that change the way he lived his life. And this, now, was the result. He hadn't been betrayed by Tanaka. He didn't know Tanaka well enough for that. Oh, find a way to connect more deeply with the people around you. Start living a better life. Before it's too late. Just do that, and you're sure to have a wonderful future ahead. Osua picked up his cell phone and dialed Tanaka's number. I had tried calling him repeatedly and hadn't gotten through. It was doubtful that he'd pick up. Still, Osua had to try. The phone rang several times. He listened grimly to the empty mechanical sound, preparing himself for disappointment. What is it? Tanaka's voice sounded coldly in Osua's ear. The tension was electric. Of course! Of course it's a keep out, motherfucker! Okay. I think we can finish off Minorikawa here. I think now that we've really coordinated this door, he can decide to wait a little bit longer and not fuck it up. Just 5 more minutes. Right. Yes, who is it? He sounded rather guarded. It's Minorikawa. Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. Are you playing games with me? I don't have the time for that. Please, just open up. There's no way I'm letting you in. This discussion was getting them nowhere. Minorikawa decided he'd have to take the direct approach. Look, just hold your horses. I'm here for an interview. You got that? An interview? He'd taken the bait. Most folks could hardly resist the word interview. That's right. It's a piece for 4-star general gossip. Wait. This is for one of those kinds of articles? The man sounded angry now. What do you mean, those kinds of articles? I'm just looking for an interview. Like hell you are! I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip. You're not the one I'm here to talk to. I want to interview your twin daughters. My daughters? No parent would deny their children a chance for word of their achievements to spread. I understand they won a shared prize for a beauty contest at Minoriyama Academy. I wouldn't mind my interviewing them. If you wouldn't mind my interviewing them, The intercom cut out before Minorikawa could finish. Hey! What gives? I'm begging out here! On my hands and knees. I feel like Minorikawa, if he were in America, would have like this Brooklyn accent. I'm begging out here. He wasn't actually on his hands and knees, but whoever was on the other end couldn't see that. Your daughters aren't home. Can you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them? Oh, goodness. He wasn't even using the intercom now. He was just shouting over the gate. A man stepped out of the front door. Give me your business card. Oh, he's so saturated now. Give me your business card, he said. I'll have him get in touch with you later. The man had a somewhat stricken look on his face. This had to be Kenji Osoa then. Wait, hold on. Osoa? Now Minorikawa recognized him. This was Kenji Osoa, a preeminent virologist who worked for Okushi Pharmaceutical. Four-star General Gossip had run a scandalous article on him in the past. Minorikawa remembered reading it. He held out his business card, and Osoa snatched it from him. The virologist started to head back into his house. Please see that they get back to me, Mr. Osoa, Minorikawa shouted after him, and then he noticed something odd. It was the middle of the afternoon, but every window in the house had its curtains drawn. Oh my god, the curtains look like, UA. They look like the UA virus. That, combined with Osoa's demeanor, set off alarm bells in Minorikawa's head. He knew he was onto something, but he couldn't linger at the Osoa residence any longer than he already had. He needed to get to that theater, ASAP. He hurried back to the taxi and told Kimitsuka to go. A few minutes later, the rear tire skidded sharply as the cab came to a stop beside a different curb. The trip from Shoto to the theater in Sakuragaoka had taken almost no time at all. Here we are, sir, Kimitsuka announced. Wow, that was fast. Still, Minorikawa was at least 5 minutes behind schedule. He hoped he'd still be able to get the interview all right. Keep out. Okay. Okay. Let's see if we can break that by jumping from Osoa. Oh, this is too late. It has to be one back. No, no autoplay. No, shoot, stop. You're being a butt. Thank you. Here. Yeah, let's go to the jump. Now can we go? All right, let's go. Minorikawa got his wallet out of his jacket to pay the driver. Oh no, Kimitsuka said, waving a hand. Don't worry about the fare. Huh? Why not? There's still plenty left over from what you paid me earlier, sir. That's what I meant by special fare. That's right, he paid Kimitsuka a whole 10,000 yen for taking him to Endo Electronics earlier. But, I mean, I'm not the sort of person to keep the change, as it were, Kimitsuka said. Minorikawa felt a surge of pride at those words. You're my kind of guy, Mr. Kimitsuka. A man on the job can always count on Hachiro, Kimitsuka's taxi. The driver grinned. Now go on, go! Thank you! I have a feeling we'll meet again. As Minorikawa entered the theater lobby, he saw a bunch of flower bouquets. Patrons' gifts of appreciation. Among the names of the senders were celebrities he recognized. Celebrities. Defined. The largest of the bouquets was sent by Koichi Nakamura, the secret society Chunsoft. I actually think that's the developer of this game. The next largest came from Marutaro Ishihara from the government organization Joyar. Following that were those from actress Barako Rose, popular scenario writer Ebisu Ippamatsu, Tohoku Busters Bus Tours Company Limited Bus Guide Kimiko Amo, professional baseball player Masanari Kiyo, the ventriloquist Shinshin, ukulele player Hawaii Matsuda, online TV critic Genzo Akitsu, and so on. Evidently, the Wandering Angels were a pretty popular acting troupe. Episode 4, novice actor Takio Amo, despite his nervousness, gave a creditable performance as Shido. As the production got underway, but as the show continued, his inexperience became apparent. He went on stage for the big wire action scene, having forgotten to attach himself to the rigging. Polska was quick to act, rushing on stage in the improvised role of assassin with an Edo accent #1 and fixing a rope to Amo's back during the confusion. People were setting out pamphlets and flyers out on a nearby table. There was a palpable tension in the air. Crew seemed skittish as they went about their work. "He's late," someone shouted all of a sudden. There was a man over in one corner of the lobby, railing angrily to nobody in particular. Why the hell hasn't that journalist shown up yet for the interview? Looked like he'd been waiting on Minorikawa then. What's his deal, pulling this while we're this busy? Guess that's Shinosuke Orai. I've been busy myself, Minorikawa said, keeping his composure. Trust me, I know how it goes. Huh? Who the hell are you? I'm the guy you've been waiting for, Mr. Orai. The man glared at him. It's Orai, he said. Anyway, I'm Minorikawa. Sorry to keep you waiting. Though really, a short wait was a small price to pay for the chance to be interviewed by me. Well, I hope you appreciate how valuable my time is now that you're taking it, snapped Orai. Oh, someone sure has a high opinion of himself, Minorikawa replied. He marched up to Orai. Damn right I do. I'm Shinosuke... Shinosuke Orai. The theater man got right up in Minorikawa's face. Like anyone even cares. A jolt of tension sparked between the two men, like in anime. Around this time, there's a similar jolt of tension between two other people, Kenji Osawa and Mamoru Tanaka. I take this jump. Maybe we just finish here. I think we finish. We'll go back and jump in a second. I beg your pardon, a woman interrupted, but Mr. Orai does have a schedule to keep. And who are you, Miss... Fukuzawa? I'm the producer. Well, listen, Sue. I'm in the middle of an interview here. Please don't interrupt. What? That's how you conduct an interview? That's right. This is how I roll. Look, whatever, Orai growled. Let's just do this already. Fine by me. The two men sat down at opposite sides of a table in the lobby. Tsukuzawa spoke up again. Mr. Orai, don't forget the meeting you have after this. Yeah, handle that, would you? Minorikawa let out a derisive snort. It's like you're holding court, he said. Do people actually hang around you with that kind of attitude? You have no right to judge my acting troupe. Minorikawa straightened up in his chair, a mocking smile on his lips. Oh, so it's your acting troupe, huh? He said. Why not just play all the roles yourself? Heck, you could even be your own audience. How dare you? Orai rose to his feet and made to leave, but Tsukuzawa herded him back down into his chair. Minorikawa continued as if he hadn't heard. Just what is it that you do, anyway? He asked. Orai raised an incredulous eyebrow. You don't know? No. Why should I? You came to an interview without knowing anything about who you were interviewing? Yep. That's it! Get out! Orai roared and pointed angrily toward the exit. How dare an unmannered clod like you come in here and waste my time? Hey, who's being unmannered now? I came all the way out here to hear your story, didn't I? Why don't you get out? Minorikawa pointed at the exit as well. Why the hell should I have to leave? Orai demanded. This is my house! House. Fine. Theater jargon for the theater itself, especially the main auditorium. Look! Just get out! This time both yelled and pointed toward the exit in unison. Tsukuzawa quickly interposed herself between them, forcing a smile. Gentlemen, please, calm down, she said. Then she turned to Minorikawa. You should be aware that Mr. Orai used to be a broadcast writer. Broadcast writer. Defined. Someone who writes for television or radio programs. A great show depends not only on the actor's performances, but on the skills of the broadcast writer. He's responsible for a lot of big hits. You don't need to mention that, Orai grumbled. Nonetheless, Tsukuzawa rattled off the names of several shows. Minorikawa did indeed recognize many of them. He murmured. So how come you're running a failing theater now? Failing? Orai went red in the face. I'm not wrong, am I? You're absolutely the rudest person I have ever met. What would a rank amateur like yourself know about theater? Orai's face was dark with rage. But Minorikawa didn't back down. Listen, this has nothing to do with how well your theater is or isn't doing, he snapped. The television world wouldn't accept you. So in order to retain your pride as an entertainer, you started doing theater. Isn't that so? Don't act like you know anything. I've staked my entire life on the theater. It seemed as if Orai might throw a punch at any moment. Sure, a city theater might seem small time compared to TV, but you get a lot more of a response from it. Response? Oh, now that sounds interesting. Darn right, Orai exclaimed. You can see it from up on stage. The audience, you can see their faces. There was a passion in Orai's voice now. You could really feel it. When the audience is enjoying themselves, you could feel that energy. You can't get that from doing television. Thinking back on it now, my time spent working on TV, let's see, what's a good analogy? It's like being handed a towel that's already damp. No, that's not right. Okay, so a better analogy would be, without further preamble, Orai began talking about his tribulations back in his broadcast writer days. Minurikawa smiled inwardly. The interview ended promptly after 15 minutes, the time that had been promised. Both men emerged from it as if from a daze. Minurikawa found himself staring Orai in the face, shaking him by the hand. So, what kind of story did I just get? He asked, speaking half to himself. You heard about one man in his life. I have to admit, it was a good interview. Thanks. You have my gratitude. A satisfied smile, Minurikawa closed his notebook. Right, glad to hear that then. Orai inclined his head, looking a bit bewildered. Flustered Tsukuzawa interrupted. Mr. Minurikawa, wasn't this interview for a piece about the performance? Huh? Minurikawa blinked. It's that you were only asking about Mr. Orai, and not about the performance itself, Tsukuzawa said. Oh, I see what you mean. Actually, I came here for a piece I'm going to be writing called Where Are They Now? Washed Up Broadcast Writers Showcase. I washed up? Orai was red in the face all over again. You bastard, how dare you! Forget everything I just told you. I do not give you permission to use it in your magazine. You're too late. What? I've already heard your whole story. You should be grateful that I'll be writing a piece on it. You bastard. With a wild look in his eye, Orai snatched up a hammer the stage crew had left nearby. Go ahead! Hit me! Oh, I'll hit you, all right. Orai waved the hammer menacingly. But the attack came to a sudden halt as a ringtone startled him out of his fury. Hold on a moment, Minurikawa said brightly. I have to take this. He whipped out his cell phone. Hello, Minurikawa speaking. This is Osawa. Wow, you'd called back a lot sooner than Minurikawa had expected. Have your daughters come home then? No. Actually, there's a favor I'd like to ask you. A favor? Minurikawa thought back to his visit to the Osawa residence. The drawn curtains, the stricken look on Osawa's face. Minurikawa's instincts had sensed something significant going on. Apparently, getting the full story wasn't going to come without some cost. Favor, huh? Is it something urgent? I'll pay whatever I have to. I just need you to look into something as quickly as possible. His voice had the telltale desperation of a man who'd been backed into a corner. All right, Minurikawa said. I can help you out for a little while. Osawa hurriedly explained what he was after. The request was a strange one. He wanted Minurikawa to look into a scandalous article that four-star general gossip had run about him in the past. What makes this so important? Do I have to say? I mean, you're asking me to look into something without explaining anything. He eyed Orai, looking nearby with obvious irritation. Minurikawa would need to calm down, the erstwhile broadcast writer, or else his interview really would be for naught. He decided to bluff both men at the same time. Let me just say one thing, he said into the phone. He made sure he spoke loud and clear so that Orai would overhear. I want to tell the world this story. No, I need to tell it. If I don't feel that way about something, no amount of money in the world will get me to write an article on it. That's my pride as a writer at work. Minurikawa could see Orai's aura of rage fading as he listened. The theater man looked surprised. Phew. Meanwhile, Osawa had decided to open up a bit. All right, he said. Can't share all the details, but... Hey, he's in a talkative mood now. Good job, Minurikawa. See, this is going fine. Thanks, Trixie. The power balance of the entire world might be at stake here, Osawa continued. And I mean that quite literally. I'll tell you more after you're done investigating. Wait, was he serious? The world's balance of power hinge on looking into some alleged marital affair. It was so absurd that Minurikawa had to fight the urge to burst out laughing. A person would need to be out of his mind to believe a story like that. But Minurikawa wasn't the average person. Sometimes the truth was so ridiculous, it really was stranger than fiction. Osawa wasn't lying. Minurikawa's instincts told him that much. All right, he said. I'll check the editing department's notes from back then. Minurikawa felt his excitement building. Things were really getting interesting. For the moment, he nearly forgot Toyama and his troubles. When he ended the call, Orai approached him and extended his hand. Listen, your methods might be a little extreme, but I could tell you take pride in your work. Of course I do. Sorry for getting so worked up. I bet you read a fine article about me, so please, Mr. Minarakawa, let the world know about me and my half-lived life. Minarakawa took the offered hand and shook it. Leave it to me. Once I'm done with it, you won't just be some washed-up nobody anymore, Mr. Orai. It's Orai. Minarakawa grinned. Minarakawa rushed out of the theater. He'd completed all the interviews that he could get done before 4 o'clock. Now he had an hour left to write it all up to convince the folks from the loan company that the gossip could stay afloat. Ah! He let out a roar, psyching himself up for the final push. Yay! Minarakawa saves the day! Okay. So, let's go back to this jump. I think we can probably finish also out here. And then we get to return to Maria. Also, I picked up his cell phone and dialed Tanaka's number. The phone rang several times. He listened grimly to the empty mechanical sound, preparing himself for disappointment. What is it? Tanaka's voice sounded coldly in Osawa's ear. Tension was electric. Osawa felt a surge of outrage. He wanted to scream, but he took a deep breath and managed to maintain control. Tanaka, where are you? Is Mari all right? Tanaka did not reply. The police told me. They said you were connected to the kidnapping. A soft chuckle came from the other end of the line. Ah, well. The police sure do know how to do their jobs. Tanaka's tone was unapologetic. He sounded nothing like the man Osawa thought he knew so well. Why would you do this? Money? You having money troubles? Money, Tanaka replied. I suppose that's part of it. Honestly, I doubt you'd understand. Do you have any idea what it's been like for me, doing our research together? You're always the one who takes center stage. Fruits of our success are all yours. Even though you couldn't have done any of it without me. The more he said, the more vitriol seethed into his words. Also, his hand trembled as he clutched the phone. The taker can never understand how it feels to be taken from. You've hoarded so many things to yourself, so I'm taking some of them back. And with that, he hung up. Hey! Tanaka! Also, I dialed the number again. Tanaka didn't pick up. Also, it racked his brain, thinking back on how Tanaka had been acting earlier that day. Had there been anything unusual? Any clue at all, no matter how small? He'd find some hint. Maybe he'd be able to find Maria and Hitomi. That was it! I had been suspicious of Tanaka all along. So much so that she'd planted a bug on him hidden in a tie clip. Her suspicions must have been pretty strong. Wait. Also, I recalled what Kajiwara had said. But still, if she is that worried, giving a tie clip as a gift is a bit... The words had struck Osawa as odd when he first heard them. Yeah, they bangin'. I had never given him a tie clip. His heart gave a heavy throb in his chest. It couldn't be. No, it was impossible. That article from 4-Star Journal Gossip crept back into his mind. The article had talked about a man I had dated before she married Osawa. The man's identity was never revealed. Could it have been Tanaka? You've hoarded so many things to yourself, so I'm taking some of them back. Tanaka's cold words took on a new depth of meaning. Osawa felt the foundations of his life begin to crumble. Tanaka and I, accomplices in all this. Yeah, no shit, guy. No. Wait. Let's calm down. Hi, Zinch. Aw, melting. Is it really toasty there? He couldn't let himself jump to conclusions. He needed to be more level-headed. Everything depended on it. The two really were accomplices. Why would I have planted a bug on Tanaka? What purpose would that serve? Because she thinks he's cheating on her with the daughters. What could it mean? No use. Also, I couldn't think of how that made sense. First things first, he needed to establish what the relationship between I and Tonaka really was. Once he figured that out, he'd be able to get a better handle on the situation. Obviously, he couldn't just go and ask I directly. If she really were involved in all this, she certainly wouldn't tell him the truth. Also, a thought back to the business card he tossed into the trash. He didn't relish the thought of getting help from that scavenging hyena, but now was no time to be picky. He wasn't able to leave the house. He needed someone else to do some investigating for him. The freelance writer, Minoru Mirigawa. It was Osawa's only hope. To be continued. Okay, so that leaves Achi and Maria. Okay. Achi! So we're at a keep out for you, Achi. Which means we gotta jump to you somehow. Which means we're probably jumping to you from Maria. Yeah. The debt collector, this guy gave me a job, so I kind of owe him. I look around for a better place for the two of us to hide. Jump from young man. Okay. Yeah, I think this is one of the situations where we're gonna have to jump for a bad end. We've only got her to 410. Okay. Okay. I'll start here. Want me to handle it? He obviously wants to help me. May as well have him get rid of the costume, too. Sure, if you don't mind, I say. I pay him the 30,000 yen, take the necklace, and leave the knick-knack shop. A few minutes later, near the station, I spot a sort of mall. Checking the directory by the entrance, I see that it's got several clothing shops and an arcade inside. They probably sell shirts in here. Hurry on inside. The interior of the building is like a twisting maze of corridors, all of them overflowing with people. I take the escalator to the second floor and find myself amidst rows of arcade games. I was trying to get to the fashion area, but I must have gone the wrong way. Excuse me. You haven't seen a lost little girl, have you? I turn to see a miserable-looking middle-aged man peering at me anxiously. I'm doing what the guide is telling me right now. Okay, you know what? No. We're gonna just try and hang out with Maria and see what happens. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll just push through. Megan! Very dramatic. How are you? Okay, we'll try here. What's her name? Hana. Hana Toyama. Hana? Oh, that's a pretty name. So, she's about yay tall. The man launches into a rapid-fire explanation, describing the girl's features, hair, and clothes. I got separated from her around Center Guy. She likes this place, so I thought maybe she'd come here. You're closing next month, Megan. Are you not supposed to be closing anymore? Center Guy? That's right, now I remember. This is the guy I bumped into earlier in the afternoon while I was racing around in the cat costume. He got separated from his daughter? Yikes. She did come here. It's not going to be easy to find her in the midst of these crowds. Are you sure she didn't go back home? I ask. Well, there's this problem, he mutters. Going home isn't an option. Well, that's not really an explanation. Sorry to bother you. I'll look around a bit more. With that, Hana's father disappears into the crowd. I leave the arcade and head for the fashion area. Oh, okay. So you're getting your preferred schedule? Or is it because of Matt? Yeah, I just spilled coffee all over myself. Yeah, so Mr. Yanagashita. Well, Tama, you're out of the suit! For some reason, he's got a bunch of magazines strewn across the floor. Yeah, finally managed to get it off. That's good. Wish you could have been at a sales demo without your face hidden anyway. Yeah, so we know this. Okay. I'm not exactly sure what I have to do to unlock her. Oh, you're being given a perk because they know you're disgruntled? Of course. But they're gonna make you suffer before you get it. Right. Right. We know. All of them are losers. Because he can't look at the back. He's just not that person. Yanagishita, you're gonna be okay. Yanagishita. Gonna be okay. Think. Just put me in a cat mascot suit and give me a banana. Just, it's time. It's time for kajiwara. May kajiwara soothe all of our sins. Gently bring us to joy. Somewhere in his pocket, there's got to be enough money for rent. Yes, I know. We've done this. I just don't know. Okay. So I think we gotta just not... Ah, damn it! Here. Getting involved with those thugs strikes me as a bad idea. I pretend not to know Yanagashita. Yanagishita. Ah, Chama! Please! I can still hear him calling pathetically as I scurry away. I didn't get to mention the transparent scratch cards, but that may be for the best. The guy really ought to develop a proper work ethic. The third floor is packed with young girls. I spot a shirt that catches my eye and head to the fitting room to try it on. There, I realize there's something in my pocket. Something I must have been carrying around for a while. It's a photo. Photo of a white man. Who's this guy? I can't quite tell if I recognize him or not. Stanley! Man. Huh. Dangerous. Huh. Here's someone's voice inside my head. Stay away from him. Flashes of memory flicker in my mind. I see a girl standing before me. Can't quite recall her face, but I get the impression she's someone very important. She speaks to me. This man is dangerous. Stay away from him. That's all. I snap back to my senses. Feels like I was right on the cusp of remembering something critical. At any rate, it seems that there's some connection between me and the man in the photo. Try as I might, though, I don't recall anything more than that. He did mention his brother. Maybe he's a twin, too. Oh, you look cute! Try on the shirt I picked out. Yeah, that looks good. I decide to buy it and have the store toss out my torn sweater for me. As I'm about to go down the escalator, a young man strides up to me as if I'm an old friend. Okay. That's clearly Achi. Do we need to jump from here? We'll go ahead and finish this first. There you are. I thought we were going to meet on the second floor. Going to meet? What's this guy talking about? I've never seen him before. Well, anyway. Come on, we have to go hide. Hide? Why do we need to do that? Hide. Why? Because those guys might have found us. They're outside. He grabs my hand and I yank it away. Hey, come on. What gives? Is this some new pickup trick or something? Whatever it is, it's way too aggressive. I get the heck out of there. Hey, hey! The guy keeps shouting, but I ignore him and try to slip away into the crowd. When I look back, though, I see that he's still following me. What do I do? Oh. For now, maybe I should head to another floor. I hurry toward the bank of elevators. Yanagishita. Well, if it isn't Tama, what a coincidence! It's Yanagishita again. I try to walk him by like I don't notice him, but it's already too late. Huh? Hey, where'd your boyfriend go? Boyfriend? I have no clue what he's talking about. Anyway, perfect timing. Can you give me back that magazine? Nothing you're saying is making any sense. I peer at him in confusion. Once again, Yanagishita looks like he might start to cry. Don't tease me like this. I did give it to you, right? No, you didn't give me anything. I get it. You wanted that 100,000 yen all to yourself, so now you're playing dumb. Is that it? No, I honestly have no idea what this is all about. By now he's all worked up and getting red in the face. Look, you might have amnesia, but that excuse ain't gonna fly with me. The amnesia has nothing to do with it. He doesn't seem to want to believe me, no matter what I say. Come on, hurry up and just give it back. Otherwise I'm gonna start bawling here, real loud. He's going to cry? Seriously? This guy's a real piece of work. Well, what's it gonna be? You're gonna make a grown man cry. It would certainly be pretty embarrassing if he starts sobbing now, but I can't exactly give him back a magazine I never had. Oh, shit. The elevator door is open. You guys. Man, this poor actor and the pomade in his hair, he's just been running around with this pomade all this time. Well, if it isn't our little entrepreneur, we've been looking for you. It's the two thugs from before, and there's no avoiding them this time. Two thugs, defined. Asao Ozu and his underling, Yutaro Sugawa, members of the Tenryugumi Yakuza Syndicate. Ozu is quite frightening when angry. His nickname is Ozu the Ogre. But despite his strong emotions, he is very logic-driven. Sugawa is the archetypal punk who likes to get into scuffles, but he's also a really good cook. Yipes! The men drag Mr. Yanagishita into the elevator. Save me, Tama! He grabs hold of my hand. Hey, let go of me! Great, now I'm in the elevator too, and the doors are shutting. Now then, Mr. Yanagishita, says the bald-headed man, there's nowhere else to run. His tone is polite, but also pretty foreboding. Whoa, wait, just hold on. I can get you the money. I'm just about to get loads of it. Enough of your poppycock, snarls the young guy. Poppycock. Balderdash, claptrap, straight up nonsense. Taken from the Dutch, poppycock, meaning soft dung. I really mean it this time. Please, you have to believe me. I can pay you 100,000 right now. 100,000? You're really carrying around that much? Asked the bald man. No, not me. The girl. The men turned to eye me in unison. She's holding on to something that's worth 100,000 yen. What? The sudden turn in the conversation has me all flustered. Tama, please, Yanagishita says. Just hand it over. I already told you. I don't know what you're talking about. The elevator stops at the first floor and the doors open. Please show me Hitami. Please show me Hitami. Oh! Standing on the other side of the doors is the guy I ran into earlier. Hana's father. The bald-headed man snarls. Toyama! I'll just get the next one. Hana's father bolts like a startled hare. The mole man and his cronies stare after him. That was my chance. Yanagishita hisses. He darts out of the elevator and makes a run for it. Hey! After him! Shouts the bold man. After who? Him or him? Just start with Toyama! The two thugs race after Hana's father. They've left me all by myself. I'm worried enough to think about going after them, but before too long, I've lost sight of them all. For a long time, I just stand there, dumbfounded, like a hurricane victim lingering in the aftermath. Ugh. What a day this has been. When I finally get my wits about me, I realize I'm pretty hungry. There's a game ad behind them, Imabiki. I'm pretty hungry, that's right. I didn't get to eat lunch. I head for the 4th floor, where the restaurants are. Since I really don't want to run into Yanagishita and those other guys again, I decide to take the escalator. As I'm riding it up, I hear a commotion coming from the floor below. It's a man's voice, shouting angrily, "Out of my way! Come on!" Pay the outburst no heed and let the escalator take me up. When I arrive at the 4th floor restaurant section, the sign for a Chinese buffet catches my eye. Buffet, defined. A style of dining where guests serve themselves freely from an array of prepared foods, taking as much of each as they want. Many hotels and restaurants tend to hold buffets at lunchtime or for brunch. Sometimes, however, this just winds up being a kind of cruel trap, with crowded lines making it take forever for you to even get near the food. Imabiki Chinese restaurant. The name means something along the lines of fire of morning. I guess fire is important for cooking, but that's kind of an unsettling thing to call an eatery. Well, I guess the name doesn't really matter. I'm in a mood to straight up devour some Chinese food. When I go to enter, though, I'm stopped by one of the employees. Oh, I'm sorry, miss. I'm afraid we're not accepting any customers. I mean, we're not really open. Not just now. She sounds a little bewildered by her own words. Why not? Well, you see, one of our other customers ate all of our food. Someone ate an entire restaurant on the food? Is that even possible? What I'm trying to say, miss, is that we're closed for the day. Ugh, go figure. Looks like Mr. Yanagishita's bad luck has rubbed off on me. Guess I'll have to look for another restaurant, too. Hana! Hold up. Who's that kid? Lying idly across the seats in the waiting area at the front of the restaurant is a young girl. Is this the girl that dismal-looking fellow has been searching for? She looks so sad it makes my heart ache. Can't just leave her here alone. Excuse me, is your name Hana? She looks wary at the question. Your father's been looking for you, I say. Hana ignores me and just stares up at the ceiling. Hey, how about we try to find your dad together? Coax the girl into getting up, then I call out to the restaurant staffer. Excuse me, where should I go to ask them to put an announcement on the PA system? Dunno. Maybe, the first floor? The security office? Right, down we go. I take Hana with me. We get on one of the elevators together. Do you know my father? Hana's tone is pretty brusque. Well, I don't really know him exactly. Then are you a debt collector? I laugh and shake my head. Would a debt collector be wearing an outfit like this? Hana lets out a deep sigh. So you're just kind of butting in then? Well, yeah, I guess so. Can't help but grin sheepishly. I feel like something about sad little Hana is stirring some of my lost memory. I'd just come out and told her that, though she'd probably think I was a total weirdo. So I decide to say something else. Guess I'm just the sort of person who can't ignore someone in trouble. You're weird. Hana looks away from me. When I get to the security office, I hear voices coming from inside. I wonder what they're talking about. I peek in through the crack in the door and see a man with a cane speaking with a security guard. How many exits are there that lead outside? There's the main entrance on the first floor, along with 2 side entrances. Also, there's one down on the first basement level, and another in the second basement. Security guard spoke with polite precision. See, says the man with the cane. I need you to shutter all exits, except for the main entrance, right away. Understood, sir. Attention, all shoppers. The announcement comes in over the loudspeaker. Due to maintenance, all first-floor entrances other than the main entrance have been closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. Customers wishing to leave, please use the main entrance on the first floor. I'm not sure what just happened, but it sounds like the main entrance is now the only way out. Come on, I say, let's have them make an announcement for us. But when I turn around, Hana is gone. She must have run off while I was distracted. Oh, looky here. If it ain't that little cutie again. The 2 thugs that were after Yanagishita come strolling toward me. Wow, you're a speedy one, huh? Says the bald man. Weren't you downstairs just now? And did you change your clothes, too? He looks me over, seeming impressed. Hey, hold on. Let me see your face. The younger man grabs me by the wrist. You know Yanagishita, yeah? Go on and give him a quick little call for us. He gives me a sharp yank. Let go of me. Can it, girlie? Just give the man a call and we're all good. I have nothing to do with that guy. Do it now. These guys aren't even listening to me. Now I'm pretty pissed off. I said I have nothing to do with that guy. I whip my manhandled arm in a wide arc and send the younger man flying into a stack of boxes. Guess he must not have been expecting that. He hits hard. The impact knocks him out cold. Whoa. Whoa. Who the heck are you? The bold man asks, his eyes wide. Shut up, I tell him. You're next. In the name of the moon, I'll punish you. I flash a winning grin. He gathers up his fallen friend and drags him away as fast as he can go. Okay, that was pretty strange. It was just like when I was fighting Miku. My body seems to know how to pull off all these moves instinctively. Am I a martial artist, maybe? Anyway, I've got to find Hana. Easier said than done. I wander around the building, but I don't see any sign of the girl. Maybe she went back home? Eventually, I slumped down on a bench in a corner. Wish I could go home too, I mutter to myself. Oh, fuck. Something cold presses against my neck. What? Is that? I think it is. Make a scene. Oh no. It's a knife. Oh. 2 foreign men grabbed me by the arms from the side. Every gaijin in Japan, every single one. In that moment, fragmentary memories flood through my mind. That's okay, PB. Sometimes it's just busy. I'm on a street. It looks like someplace in the Middle East. Being dragged along by several men. Too scared to speak. There are people on the street, market vendors, but none of them seem willing to get involved. The men drag me into some back alley. Help me! Please, somebody help me! I'm being abducted. And then a dark silhouette drops down in front of me. The figure brandishes a knife threateningly at the men. The blade moves with dazzling speed. My captors are all down. A mere moment. Who is this? Who came to save me? I try my utmost to drag my memories to the surface. It's a girl. That's right. I'm certain of that much. I don't remember her face. It's a girl. Younger than me. Walk faster! The angry hiss in my ear snaps me out of my flashback. Yeah, you really think that you're like, dude, you're foreigners dragging a girl on the street of Japan. This would not fly. What was that memory just now? I'm more concerned about the girl who saved me than I am about the men who've captured me now. 2 thugs march me along, still holding me by the arms. I can't believe she was in a place like that. Yeah, talk about giving us the runaround. Can't figure out what they're talking about. Place like what? Giving them the runaround? Do you know me? The 2 men look at each other. Wait, are you the other one? One of them peers closely into my face. What are you talking about? What do you mean? A place like... I stop as a sudden idea comes to me. Hold on. Are you talking about that storehouse? The men look utterly confused. What are you talking about? One of them asks. I explain that I've lost my memory. This seems to make them pretty anxious. We gotta report this. One of the men takes out his cell phone and makes a call. He informs whoever's on the other end that I've lost my memory. I have no idea what's going on. Based on what I can follow from the conversation, though, it seems these were the people who had put me in that storehouse. But why had they done that? One of these guys asked if I was the other one. What could that possibly mean? Could it be? Thanks, Trixie. Did they abduct me because they mistook me for someone else? So, who? The more I try to think, the more muddied this all gets. Calm down. Just calm down. Let's think of what we know. What I do know for sure is that I woke up inside that storehouse, and evidently I took a blow to the head, and that's the cause of my amnesia. Hold on, that's strange. If these people had kidnapped me before, why wasn't the storehouse, well, locked? Seems pretty sloppy if they wanted to keep someone confined. What could all this possibly mean? It's no use. I haven't the foggiest. None of this makes any sense at all. Let go of her! I craned my neck to see who spoke. It's the man with the cane who was at the security office. Who the hell are you? One of my captors barks. Said let it go. Did you not hear? The man with the cane pulls a gun from his suit pocket. Get lost. This isn't worth dying over. The 2 men take a few steps back and then bolt out of the alleyway. Who are you? Voice trembles slightly. Guess he's not here. The man takes a quick look around. He? Do you mean Mr. Yanagishita? All that matters is that he's not here. Gun in hand, the man slowly approaches. Hitomi Osawa. I know you've done nothing wrong. What? I feel a jolt of surprise at the name. Hitomi Osawa. Is that my name? His face a mask of stone. The man points the gun right at my head. Please. No hard feelings. Oh my fucking god. To be continued. That's not a bad end? Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure we have a jump to Achi here. Achi took the escalator down to the 3rd floor, and there was Hitami, standing right in the open, after he'd been searching for her high and low. There you are. I thought we were going to meet on the 2nd floor, Achi said. She stared back at him in confusion. Well, anyway. Come on, we have to go hide. Hide? Why? She gave him a dubious look. Achi felt like something was off, but now wasn't the time to dwell on it. Because those guys might have found us, he said. They're outside. He took hold of Hitami's hand. Hey, let go! What gives? She quickly yanked her hand away. Huh? As Achi tried to make sense of the way she was acting, she took off down the corridor. Hey, Hitami! He hurried after her. It was like changing her clothes had also changed her personality. Still, he couldn't just leave her alone. The kidnappers might well be closing in. He stayed in pursuit of her, trying not to draw too much attention. He lost track of her somewhere near the elevators. Ugh, what is her deal? Unsure of what else he should do, he headed back down to their rendezvous point on the 2nd floor. When he arrived, he spotted Hitami heading down the escalator ahead of him. Hitami! Achi shouted, but his voice vanished into the noise of the crowd, and she disappeared onto the 1st floor. Damn it. Achi rushed down the escalator. He took the steps 2, 3, 5 at a time. He made it to the 1st floor and looked around. There was Hitami, about to take a different escalator back up. Why is she doing this? He waved his arms to get her attention, but she didn't notice and headed right back up. Down, up. What the heck is she thinking? She sped around and got on the upward escalator. Not the sharpest tool in the shed. Out of my way. Come on. He shoved people aside as he ran up the moving stairs. But he saw no sign of Hitami when he reached the 2nd floor. He lost track of her completely. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. Achi's shoulders slumped. He felt exhausted, but he kept up his search, scrounging one floor after another until eventually he made it down to the 2nd basement level. Had she grown too impatient waiting for the Kanan and gone off searching for the blue minivan again? I think I can handle myself from here. He thought back to what Hitami had said earlier. Damn it. She's not going to be okay by herself. He pounded his fist into the wall in frustration. Please stop. That was Hitami's voice. Hitami. Achi moved faster than he could think. Achi! She called back. A pair of thugs had grabbed her by both arms. Achi stomped his way towards them. Get your hands off her, he shouted. Huh? What's it to you, pal? The older one of the two, a middle-aged fellow, turned to Achi with a sneer. He looked familiar somehow. Hitami shook herself free of the men and ran over to Achi. It's no use trying to act tough, buddy. We're just trying to get back what we're owed. Don't make us have to get rough with you. But you're owed. Hitami. Do you owe people money? No, I don't. They just came after me and started going on about 2 million yen. She looked just as baffled by the situation as Achi was. If you're gonna blame someone, blame your boss, the older man said. He gestured to his lackey. Feral gleam flashed to the young punk's eyes. It was the look of a man who couldn't resist dishing out a beatdown. He brought up his fists and shifted his feet, shadowboxing a few quick jabs with his left hand. It looked to Achi like the guy was an experienced boxer. Hold on, Hitami said. What do you mean, my boss? Say what? Yanagishita, who the hell do you think? The young punk shuffled closer, fists still menacing. And his expression changed. Hey. Hold on. You Achi Endo? Yeah, that's right. Well, ain't that lucky, getting to throw down with you like this. The punk sounded pleased indeed. I've heard all sorts of rumors about you, you know. See how true they are. Achi didn't like his chances in a straight-up fight with a trained boxer. She do. He had to go for broke. His best chance was to hope for an opening to deliver a low kick. Low kick, defined. A kick using the foot or shin to strike the opponent in the thigh, just above the knee. In karate, this is known as gedan mawashigeri. Since the legs are longer than the arms, this is an effective technique against boxers. He needed to time it perfectly when his opponent took a step forward. Huh. With a loud breath, the thug shot out his left arm. Now! Achi shifted his stance and unleashed a low kick. Suddenly, the elevator doors opened right nearby. Achi and the punk both stopped mid-attack. A miserable-looking older man stood in the elevator. At sight of him, the punk's face went red with rage. You! Toyama! Oh, going up. The man in the elevator hurriedly closed the doors. The two thugs rushed toward him, but the elevator had already begun heading back upward. Come on, after him, the older man shouted. The young punk raced up the stairs. You stay right where you are, the older fellow added, glaring at Hitami. Then he followed after his lackey. Does he really think we're dumb enough to just wait here? Achi scoffed. Achi, I've been looking all over for you. Hitami gave him an angry swat on the chest. For me? What are you talking about? You weren't waiting where you said you'd be. Yeah, because you went up to another floor. What do you mean? I went right where you said, on the second floor. Huh? This wasn't quite adding up. The second floor? What are you talking about? You went up to the third floor. No, I didn't. Wait, what? None of this makes any sense. Achi felt like his brain was getting scrambled. Well, anyway, at least I found you safe and sound. Yeah. Two smiled at one another. What's with those clothes? Hitami's new outfit was completely different from the clothes she'd had on earlier. I tried on a few things, but what I'm deciding on this. You tried other stuff on? Ugh, okay, that explains it, Achi said. At least now things sort of made sense. That's nice, you know. What is? Your clothes, I mean. They look good on you. Cute. Wow, I'm actually blushing now. And it made me blush to say it. Achi and Hitami shyly avoided each other. Oh, so hey, Achi said, eager to change the subject. Do you still have that magazine? Oh, right, yeah. I was going to just throw it away, but I couldn't. How come? I haven't been able to find the right kind of receptacle. Newspapers and magazines are supposed to be kept separate from normal trash, right? Hitami scanned their surroundings for a suitable bin. Oh, Achi's in love now. Wait, are you serious? Yeah. You're thinking about proper recycling now? Of all times? Is that weird? Huh. I'm in trouble. I think you might just be perfect. Achi found himself blushing even harder now. Mama! Sudden yell snapped him out of his embarrassment. The sketchy-looking fellow who'd given her the magazine was scampering down the stairs toward them. Great, Achi said. The weirdo's back. The man ignored him, though, and leaned in close to Hitami. You do still have it! He snatched the magazine from Hitami's hands. Yes, this one hasn't been scratched off yet. The man hunkered down on the floor and began scratching away at a scratch card stapled at the centerfold. Wait! Don't let him have that! Another man came swooping out of nowhere and yanked the magazine away. It was the older fellow who'd appeared in the elevator minutes before. You can't do that! That's mine! The sketchy-looking man clutched at the older newcomer. Let go! No way! I said let go! I said no way! The two were fighting right in front of the exit, keeping Achi and Hitami from leaving. How do you like this? The older man shouted, scratching away haphazardly at the ticket. Now it's just a worthless scrap of paper. Ha ha ha! My 100,000 yen! You mean my 100,000 yen? Then the middle-aged fellow looked back down at the ticket. Gah! What are the odds? Somehow, in his random scratching, he'd happened to land himself a winner. Give it! No way! The two men took off, engaged in a running battle for the ticket. What was the deal with those two? I'm not sure. Achi and Hitami could only stand there, dumbfounded. On the other hand, hey, look at the time. It's almost 3. The two headed hurriedly for the Gigo back entrance. But just as they were nearing the doors, the shutters dropped down in front of them. Whoa, what gives? Due to maintenance, all entrances other than the main entrance on the first floor have been closed. We apologize for the inconvenience. Customers wishing to leave, please use the main entrance on the first floor. She glared at the loudspeaker. It looked like there was no exit through the back after all. I've got a really bad preposition about this. You mean premonition? Hitami had gotten quicker to butt in with her corrections. Holding on to their premonitions then, the two hurried their way up the stairwell. As Hitami tried to head out the first floor entryway, Achi yanked her back. Careful. What's the matter? It's that guy. Huh? Hitami's expression stiffened. Slipping behind a nearby pillar, Achi pointed to the man with the cane, who was keenly eyeing shoppers as they came and went. Well, this bites. No way we're getting out with him there. Achi, Timmy whispered in his ear. Find us. Achi glanced back and saw the two goons walking in their direction. Oh. Those two caused a scene like before. The assassin would notice them for sure. Aha! The younger punk had spotted them. Damn it, Achi, gritting his teeth. Yep! But the thuggish pair let out a teensy squeak and then darted off in a different direction, vanishing from view. What the heck? Achi and Hitami watched them go, unsure what to make of the sudden retreat. Well, anyway, Achi said after a moment, now we can try to find another way out. Taking Hitami by the hand, he headed back into the shopping area. The back entrance on the first floor. That was a no-go. The other emergency exits were also locked down, which meant that the main entrance on the first floor really was the only choke point in or out. It was almost time for them to meet Kanan. They needed to find some way to bust out of here. The pair headed back toward the main entrance. Then they saw the man with the cane again, heading in their direction. He hadn't seen them yet, but there was no way they'd avoid him if they didn't do something quick. Guess for now we've got to go up, Achi said to Hitami. They started racing up the nearest escalator, which was descending from above. My bad, coming through. Sorry, please excuse us. They fought and shoved their way past a stream of people riding in the other direction. They could see the second floor now, but she figured they'd be in the clear once they got there. No, Chiri! No! But then a large woman appeared at the top of the escalator, heading down. She was the one who'd been in the Chinese restaurant on the fourth floor, the one who'd supposedly packed an entire buffet into her belly. She was wide enough that Achi and Hitami would never be able to split past her. Hey! Out of the way! Achi shouted, but the young woman ignored him. Achi tried to push past, but he just bounced off her. They were drifting inevitably back down toward the first floor. It was like they were riding a conveyor belt that was delivering them right to the assassin. This was not good. If they didn't do something soon, they'd... Wait a sec. Something must have caught the assassin's eye. Achi saw him suddenly rush outside. There was no telling what had just happened, but now there was a chance to escape. Achi and Hitami raced out the door. Outside, the man with the cane was nowhere to be seen. Looks like we're safe. She let out a sigh. For now, someone said, keep your eyes open. Oh, it's Kanan! The sudden words made the two turn with a start. Kanan was standing right behind them. She'd gotten this close, and neither of them had noticed a thing. I think she's related to Tariq. She moved with the skill of an assassin. I feel like they're using photography like they do with Tariq, like the way her hair is styled. They've kohled her eyes in a certain way. But she felt a chill shoot through him. Okay. That's it. That's it for the 2 o'clock block. We're going to go ahead and stop here next week. We're moving into 3 o'clock, and ideally, nobody's going to die. Oh, wait, did we not get to... I thought we got to be continued for Kano. Maybe we didn't. Yeah, they're doing all of the same tricks. So either they're trying to just make every Middle Eastern person look the same, or they're deliberately tying Tariq to Kanan. At some point, he ditched his animator costume for a cat mascot suit! Oh no, Kano muttered. That get-up's going to make Susayama stand out like a sore thumb. Shoot! The mutt spotted me. I'm going in pursuit. Susayama slipped out of the camera's view. Whoa. What gives? Let go of me. You're Mr. Yanagishita, right? Look, I'm sorry, but I really do need you to return that costume. The voices came in over the wireless. It sounded like Susayama was caught up in an argument with someone. Susayama! Kano shouted as he eyed the monitor. Kano, I need some help here. Requesting emergency backup. The line went dead before Susayama could finish. Kano didn't have the faintest idea what was going on, but obviously his partner needed him. He rushed out of the precinct. Did we save Sosayama's life by putting him in a cat costume? When he arrived on the scene, he saw Sosayama still in a cat suit, caught up in a scuffle with a man he'd never seen before. There's no sign of Alcarawan. Sosayama, what's going on? That's an excellent question, Sosayama replied. This guy just came at me out of nowhere. He sounded pretty riled up. Sir, I need you to return this costume. My boss was very insistent on that point. The man was panting with exertion, shouting in Sosayama's face. Was he the owner of the suit? What's the deal with this thing? Sosayama, Kano asked. I bought it at a variety store on Center Guy. Figured it'd be a perfect disguise. I didn't steal anything. Sir, I'm telling you, you need to give that back. And I'm telling you, I've got no idea what you're on about. Sosayama stamped his foot. I realize that you're not Mr. Yadagishita. That isn't the issue. I just need you to return that costume. All right, sure, I'll give it to you. I just need it a little longer, so let go of me. I can't do that, sir. I need you to get out of that suit right now. Yeah, I get that, buddy, but no can do. It's like I told you before. The zipper on this thing snagged. Akano watched as the argument descended further and further into absurdity. Meanwhile, Alcarawan was getting away. This was ridiculous. He turned to go in pursuit of the suspect. Kano, wait! Sosayama called out. Come on, help me out, man! Huh? Help me get this thing off! Now really isn't the time for this, Kano replied. I'm going after the suspect. Oh, I get it. You're gonna ditch me here so you can take all the credit for yourself. Whoa, what? I was this close to nabbing the guy. That arrest is mine to make, and you know it! It wasn't as though Kano couldn't empathize. If Sosayama hadn't been blindsided by this random stranger, he probably would have caught Alcarawan just fine. All right then, Kano said. He reached for the zipper on the back of the catsuit. But as Sosayama had said, the metal fittings were snagged and refused to budge. Hurry up! I'm trying! There wasn't time to do this slowly and carefully. Kano yanked down on the zipper hard. Stop! The stranger shrieked in alarm. Don't be so rough like that. But if I don't, I'll never. You mustn't! If you aren't careful, you'll cause a malfunction. Malfunction? What the hell was this guy talking about? Kano got an ever firmer grip on the zipper and pulled again. He paused in surprise as Sosayama mewled. Meow? Again, Sosayama let out a little cry. Except it didn't sound like Sosayama's voice at all. Guys, Sosayama said, there's something making a rumbling noise inside this thing. He sounded pretty alarmed. Said the other man. It has started. His face went pale. What are you talking about? Sosayama demanded. What started? The man hesitated, then seemed to come to a decision. Well, you see, this is no ordinary cat costume. Meaning what, exactly? Our shop rented this unit out by mistake. Oh, I had no idea it was anything so horrifying. Not until the boss filled me in a little while ago. What's horrifying? You're not answering the question. The man's gaze grew hollow and distant. Cats, he said. For a moment, there was only silence. Then Sosayama spoke up nervously. Well, yeah, it's a cat. I know that already. No, you're not listening. This is a cat's. Like I said, I already know it's a cat. Anyone could see that just from looking at it. No, not a cat. Cats. C-A-T-S. Costume as transmission system, developed by Far East Costume Rental's high-tech department. There was an official corporate notice stating this is just a prototype and potentially dangerous, so do not lend it out under any circumstances. But it was accidentally rented by mistake. The meowing started back up again. With each new mule, the sound got faster. Soon, it sounded less like a cat, more like some mechanism that was whirring about. There was a sudden, fierce, blinding flash. Space itself began to warp in a roughly 3-meter radius around Sosayama and his costume. A moment later, Kano and the others had vanished. What? Number 35. Cats. Bad end. Oh no, Sosayama, the rental guy, were set into another dimension due to a malfunction in the cats. Detective Sosayama should probably never have put that catsuit on. He mentioned buying it at a variety shop on Center Guy. That's your lead here. I have never been more rewarded for a mistake in my life. Think. Okay, so we gotta go to the guy who's gonna throw it away for us. Yeah. So this poor guy has had everybody getting throwing their discards. Achi, Chiri, Tsushiyama. Okay. So we should be able to go back and not have Kano and Sasayama turn into cats? Okay. 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 Yes, by fixing that, we have removed Kano and Susayama's hat. So Victor, he is actually not watching stream. He stopped by and left. He's watching somebody else, but all he could hear was me meowing. And I just heard him in the other room being like, excuse me? Victor, I got a screen full of meows. It was literally a screen full of meows. And they just kept coming faster. There's nothing I could do. It was meow or death. So, we'll be back next Tuesday with more Shibuya Scramble. There might be someone to raid, actually. I think there is. I think we ended early enough this time that we can raid somebody. Let us discover together whether we get to raid. Okay. So, let's bother they shop, because they're playing Baldur's Gate 3. And I also will be like, next time include me! So let us go. Off we pop. Thank you, PB, Zem, Zinch, Ash, Theo. Vic, even though you left, you bastard.